Jackson, Mississippi, just a short drive from the Capitol building. We're at Veterans Memorial Stadium as Alabama A&M set to take the field for the first time in more than a month. They'll face off against the Tigers of Jackson State. We welcome you to ESPN College Football, presented by McDonald's. SWAC East still up for grabs. One of these teams could land a spot in next month's SWAC championship game. We are certainly delighted. In fact, thrilled. Folks, I just might lose my mind up in here, alongside the former Howard University and NFL quarterback, Jay Walker. I'm Tiffany Green. And we'll hit you with the headline really quickly. Alabama A&M quarterback, Aquil Glass, one of the best signal callers in all of FCS. And this is a guy that we could very well see playing on Sundays, Jay.
Quarterback position is so important in college football today. And if you're Alabama A&M, the reason why you have the #1 ranked HBCU football team is because of your quarterback, Aquil Glass. Get to know this name, fellas. Aquil Glass is the real deal. And here's why he's special. Ball distribution. Take a look at this highlight. Full sprint, rolling to his left, squares his shoulders, and throws a dart to his wide receiver. Throw to the soft spot of the zone coverage, allow your receivers to make a play. And look at this. You talk about hitting a receiver in stride. Oh, that is on the money right there. And a new element to his game, the ability to run the zone read to the outside. Aquil Glass has it all, and the rest of America is going to get a good opportunity to take a look at a premier signal caller here today.
And we will have an opportunity to stay on quarterbacks as we look at Jackson State. They're deciding to make a change under center, going with the redshirt freshman, Quincy Casey.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting challenge for Casey today. They're going to Casey because he throws the ball downfield a little bit more than Jalen Jones, who was a dual threat, mostly runner and a passer. They want to try and get their wide receivers involved. One thing Jackson State does have is a wide receiver core that can hurt you. And if Casey can find some hot receivers, look for the Tigers to try and defend their home field.
Jackson State won the toss. They defer, so Alabama A&M will receive first. A&M, we mentioned their first game in 35 days. They're on the field, and they are set to receive the kickoff. Noah Anderson ready to boot it away here from Veterans Memorial Stadium. And on the return, here's Alabama A&M out just past the 25-yard line. And here is our first look at the big arm, good-sized quarterback, Aquil Glass, the senior out of St. Louis, standing at 6'5".
6'5", 200, almost 20 pounds now. Well put together there. Has the arm. You see the accolades of what he's accomplished his time in Huntsville, Alabama, and looking to improve on those numbers.
Preseason SWAC Offensive Player of the Year. Finished that 2019 season as a record holder and single-season passing yards, along with career touchdowns as well. The man in motion, Glass on the handoff. And up ahead for a good run by Gary Quarles. Quarles, who is replacing Jordan Bentley. Bentley, who was one of the top rushers in Alabama A&M history. He meant so much to this program, and now Quarles has the duty, the junior out of Cottondale, Alabama. First pass from Glass. Glass completes it to his tight end, Anthony Howard. Good pickup, and that moves the 6-4 first down.
And one thing I love about Alabama A&M, and Aquil Glass is a direct beneficiary of it, the play selection by Dwayne Taylor and Connell Maynard. When you have an offensive-minded quarterback as a head coach, you know you're going to have great position coaching at that position, and they do a good job coaching up Aquil Glass, particularly with the play calling selection.
Quarles was stopped by a wall of blue jerseys. Jamani Crane in on the stop. Well, you think about Glass in his lone game this season, 15 of 33 passing, 272 yards, had 4 touchdowns against South Carolina State back on March 6th, but he also had 3 INTs as well. So a very small sample size of what he's been able to do this season, and now before a national audience, he gets to show off just what he can do. As we look at Deion Sanders, the Pro Football Hall of Famer, had a great career in the NFL, and now in his first season as the Jackson State head coach, he is hopeful that his team can bounce back after back-to-back losses. Hired here back on September 21st of last year. And on the other sideline, a very charismatic coach as well, and Connell Maynor in his third season leading the program out of Huntsville, Alabama. Maynor, who was a great player in his own right, two-time MEAC Offensive Player out of the year, played with North Carolina A&T and Winston-Salem State. Also went on to play in the Arena League.
And also a member, like your partner here, a fellow member of the MEAC Hall of Fame. So Hall of Fame player there. They know him well in the Carolinas, Winston-Salem State, as well as North Carolina A&T. And one of the most competitive individuals you will meet.
Oh, yeah.
He is super competitive, and it's going to be an interesting matchup here today.
2nd and 8 coming out of the timeout by Jackson State. Glass, play action, going deep. He's got a man with the speed and just overthrows his intended target. And Terrell Gardner.
You talk about taking a deep shot early. Watch the hard play fake, sell it all the way, and let it fly. And that situation there, Terrell Gardner just misses him by about 2 or 3 yards from the first explosive play of this football game.
That brings up 3rd and 8, empty backfield now for Glass. At their own 45-yard line, completes it to Jenkins. Jenkins, who has some speed, trying to scurry around to that first down marker. He's just short.
Yep, and I think you go for it. See, because you got the completion and you cross the 50, even if you're short or close, you're going to put your offense in a position to go for it.
And they give him the first down there. They say he picked up enough yardage. It looked a little bit short here, but that moves the sticks across midfield now for the Bulldogs.
When they go this empty formation, they're trusting Aquil Glass to get the most out of his pre-snap read to determine where he's going with the football before it's even snapped.
Glass looking to his left, reading, and incomplete. The intended target was Hilaire.
You'll see they're going to run the stick seam route up the seam, and that is a hold.
Khalil Arrington got away with that one on the coverage, so Maynor and his crew now have 2nd and 10.
That continuing to go with this empty backfield and put the football in Aquil Glass's hands, letting him determine the outcome.
This is a defense at Jackson State that's been gashed for more than 400 yards. And here, another completion. Once more, it's Jenkins this time, being spun around and down to the ground. As Brian Jenkins, who is a nice spark plug on offense, the coaching staff says, like, he is just the lifeline of that wide receiver group.
The coach's son has a big personality, and good job on the patience of setting up the route against Khalil Arrington, who's a Mike linebacker versus slot wide receiver. Nice separation, good execution by the Bulldogs.
On this opening drive, the Bulldogs still moving down the field. The good move
nice.
and wonderful catch there by Odu Hilaire. Wonderful placement by Glass and even better catch by Hilaire.
This is a big-time throw. I mean, this is a shake route. The ball is gone now, and he's not even open yet. Thrown to a spot, found the crease in the defense. Nice play.
24-yard reception.
Pretty.
Going once more. Touchdown, Alabama A&M. The All-American Abdul Fattah Ibrahim. 9-yard score for the Bulldogs, and what an impressive opening drive, Jay.
You know what they say in real estate, the most important thing in real estate? Same with football. Location, location, location. Look at the location of this throw. Defender's back, you're in the trail position. They're not giving you a chance to get back into play. Perfectly placed football. The location was perfect. Aquil Glass with his first touchdown of the day.
Here's Corey, Spencer Corey on to attempt the point after, and it is good. So 7-0, and Aquil Glass quickly showing America that he can make all of the throws. This 9-yard score is good to put A&M on top.
It's NBA on ABC time. Lakers Nets tonight on ABC.
It's not just a game when every move feels like a power play. It's opened my eyes to a whole new world. It's where I find myself and get lost in the game.
Is presented by McDonald's.
I'm putting in the work pregame. Kind enough to give the assist on trying to put up our ESPN banner, but that's just the type of coach he is. So dialed in. Attention to detail. He cares about every aspect and facet of this program.
And the fact is, you know, let's look at the reality. Last year, Jackson State won 1 or 2 football games for the whole season. They've already got that total this year, and you're going to find your lumps, but it's the belief. And when you talk to him, he said, our team right now, it's a live audition. Who can play football at this level? Who's going to be around in the fall? What better way, rather than have 4 weeks of spring football practices, you're getting a season, and he gets to see on top, and the positive energy is definitely still there from Coach Prime, Deion Sanders.
Well, Jackson State surrendering 9 plays, 74 yards, and just over 3 minutes of that opening drive. And Aquil Glass, who was near perfect there, 5 for 7 for 66 yards and that TD pass.
It showed everything you wanted to see. Good recognition, took the deep shot. You saw the arm strength, you saw the anticipation. And I really like the throw with the toughness in the pocket when he was getting hit, still able to convert on 3rd down.
Back to receive it. That's Josh Littles. Littles with a good return. And he's stuck and brought down just before the 30-yard line. Well, we told you a change at quarterback for Jackson State. It's Quincy Casey who gets the nod here today, making his first start of the season, Jay.
I always say everybody loves a backup quarterback, but when you become the starter, you have to deliver. You lose a couple friends, you have to deliver the football. He has the size. You see the numbers on the season. Doesn't have a huge, strong arm, but it's an accurate arm with the ability to go downfield. And the strength of Jackson State offensively is their wide receiver core. They have 3 of the best wide receivers you'll see in FCS football, and Dalen Baldwin, Warren Newman, and Corey Reed. If he can get those guys to football, they can make big plays and give this offense an opportunity to put points on the board.
And Greg Williams, the sophomore, the starting running back who is stepped in for Tyson Alexander, who's nursing an injury. He's limping to the sideline now. So Jackson State having to cycle through running backs. The completion on the outside, and that's one of those big wide receivers, as you were mentioning, Jay. That's Corey Reed.
And, you know, the more you watch Corey Reed, and it's not a politically correct phrase to say, but he's a bully. On the football field, his size, 6'3", 210 pounds, and he plays like it. He plays like I'm bigger, faster than you, and he likes to push opposing defensive backs around.
Out of Fulton, Georgia, here is the running back on the carry. Jackson State gets out ahead and is able to pick up the first down.
Jackson State, 1st and 10. First down is sponsored by Pizza Hut.
So Deion Sanders hoping his team can respond here on their opening drive, and once again they decide to keep it on the ground.
Yeah, and doing a good job of using the offensive line, running behind your pad. So when you've got a freshman quarterback in there that's, you know, trying to find his way, it's a good job by the guys up front. Amari Catchings, Jacob Cunningham, Cedric Dunbar, open up some holes so you can free the running game, get it started.
It's 2nd and short, just near midfield for the Tigers. The pass from Casey, and it's incomplete. The intended target was Kylan Ritchie. Ritchie, one of the big senior tight ends who We've seen a lot more these days, Jay, of getting the tight ends involved. That's kind of the new hotness in the position.
Yeah. Travis Kelce, Greg Kittle, all those guys. And the NFL draft, you hear the tight end from Florida is going to be drafted pretty high. So it's a difference maker, and a tight end is so important to a quarterback because they're in the middle of the field most times. So you see them first. You want a big target, and they can make a difference.
Casey delivering the pass. Once again, it's complete. Quickly met by Trenton McGee, but that is good enough for a first down as Corey Reed with the completion.
I told you he's a bully. I mean, Corey Reed, that's what you want. If you're going to have this bully frame, look at his frame. He's going to square you up, get the inside release, and run through the tackle. That's how you want to use your size and frame. Make the defensive back run through you.
Bringing the pressure and quickly brought down, wrapped up. That's the Bulldogs defense getting there quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Denzel Davis, number 45, coming from that safety position on the blitz. He's a little rover back, and the struggles you've seen with Jackson State have been blitz pickup. They struggle with that, and you see the number of sacks they've given up, particularly the last 2 weeks, and giving up another big one here.
And Deion Sanders has not been shy about saying that that offensive line has not blocked anyone. He says for weeks, and over the last 2 games, you saw those numbers, the big 9 sacks given up. That was a loss of 5. Now 2nd and long and wide open in the flat, and the pass complete to Warren Newman.
Good job. Too much soft coverage there. And Warren Newman, the slot receiver, smallest of the wide receiver corps, 5'8", 175 pounds, but you leave him this open. Good job of recognizing, turning upfield, and almost picking up the first down after the sack.
Good chunk gain there, 11 yards, so that brings up now 3rd down and 3. Just under 8.5 to go in this opening quarter from Veterans Memorial Stadium. Jackson State trying to bounce back from back-to-back losses. Casey whips it out there and just past the extended arms of Richie.
Casey's pass is incomplete.
Something that you're noticing with Casey there, a little bit more of a rhythm to the passing game, more of the timing routes, getting rid of the football, not holding the football. Although they're coming to a punt situation now, you do like what you see, particularly from a freshman quarterback making his first start. He has some rhythm in the passing game.
Lane McGregor standing on his own, a 45-yard line, set to punt it away. Back to receive it is Keon Wakefield, who watches it bounce out of bounds. The Bulldogs will start their drive on their own 8 when we come back. And McDonald's, if you're just tuning in, Aquil Glass, get to know the name. Jay, you said it earlier, 5 of 7 on that first drive for 66 yards. He made a good chunk of throws.
Ball distribution and quick decisions. You look at the decision making, where he's going with the football, throwing the wide receivers open, standing tall in the pocket, and deliver the touchdown strike. Nice opening drive by Aquil Glass, coming in showing he's as good as advertised.
An NFL prospect you see there, hitting 4 different receivers, but also an outstanding student as well, civil engineering major. Already got his degree, currently working on his master's in that same area. This is an all-around, complete individual, not just a great football player.
But Tiff, I mean, you play quarterback. Quarterbacks are always going to be more than just football players. If you're not, then you're in trouble. You have to have leadership skills to be a successful quarterback, is what differentiates the good one from the great ones. Nice pitch.
The pitch over to Quarles. Quarles with some room, spins off a tackler, still on his feet, and brought down by a gang of Tigers.
Hey, read option. We talked about the ability to have the zone read. This is who your option off of. If he comes for you, pitch it. Look how quick the decision's made. He's coming, pitch it. It's easy. You know, it's easy. If you know your keys and what you're looking for, you can make tough plays look effortless. Good job on the pitch.
Well, this Alabama A&M squad has had plenty of time to watch film as Quarles is wrapped up. Nowhere to go. That's Keontae Hampton, the preseason SWAC Defensive Player of the Year. And really, it's been the bell cow of this defense in that linebacker core.
Keontae Hampton has it. Just a junior, and he's already been named SWAC Defensive Player of the Year as a sophomore. He's a very quiet, unassuming young man, but he makes plays time and time again on the football field.
Had a chance to talk to him yesterday, Jay, and I got him to come out of his shell a little bit. It was good to get to know him a little bit more. He says he just turns it on when he hits the field. Otherwise, he is a calm, cool, and quiet kind of guy. Glass off the mark there. The intended target was Xavion Moore. Now, Jay, here's one of those conversations that's going to be fun to have and matchups that's going to be key to watch on. The wide receivers for Alabama A&M, they feel like they bring in the best 7 in the SWAC, according to their offensive coordinator, Dwayne Taylor. They said they are stepping into the challenge against these DBs from Jackson State.
Yeah, they're trying to prove me wrong. I've called the 3 wide receivers from Jackson State the best trio in the conference. All season long, Alabama A&M has said, Jay, you're wrong. We've got the best wide receiver core. You got the best quarterback. But now you get an opportunity to show as a wide receiver how good your core is, because the one thing you are going against is a very talented defensive secondary of Jackson State.
Glass with 3rd and long. He's wrapped up and brought down. Getting to him is Aubrey Miller. Miller, another name that we've gotten to know this year, transferred from Missouri, and he is a guy who can make some big plays.
Yeah. Miller along with Hampton are those 2 dudes on defense for Jackson State when they're able to get to the collapse the pocket, but that just shows you how they've been struggling on the defensive line, having to blitz Aubrey Miller in Hampton in order to disrupt the backfield. But a good job by defensive coordinator Dennis Thurman, dialing up a blitz, putting your playmakers in a position to make a play on defense and disrupting Alabama A&M.
And a good defensive stand for the Tigers after giving up the touchdown on that opening drive. Set to punt, the Bulldogs put it in the air. Warren Newman receives it just beyond the 30-yard line, and he's brought down just a few yards on that return. We'll come back and see a second look at the Tigers offense. It means historically black colleges and universities, the importance giving African Americans an opportunity to be educated in the United States of America. Cheney University, the first to be founded here in the U.S. Currently, there are 101 HBCUs across the U.S., and you see on that graphic primarily from Texas and Oklahoma to the east. And Jay, we are both proud graduates of historically black colleges and universities, and the way that it molded us as individuals to be successful in life. You can't thank your HBCU enough. You're a graduate of Howard University, and I am a proud graduate of Florida A&M University.
Glad you acknowledged that, because I thought you were going to say there's only one HBCU.
See, I'm not trying to start anything right now, Jay. I'm just trying to give everybody their props, and a big stick there. Woo! Good hit from Denzel Davis. Davis there to quickly beat Santee Marshall.
Davis trying to be a disruptor. We saw him earlier on a sack of the quarterback in the first drive, and this time, that's how you finish off a tackle. See, this right here is textbook. Finish him off, didn't wrap him, didn't pile drive him, just good hard hit by Denzel Davis.
Davis, one of those seniors on defense here on the carry once more. Marshall able to spin off and stumbles forward near the first down marker. Marshall, of course, now in because of Greg Littles, who we saw injured earlier this quarter. Now he's getting the bulk of the carries.
That's what you do. You get the opportunity, your number's called, step up, make the first defender miss, and show that you can pick up that positive yardage, keeping the balance.
It's good enough for 8 yards and a first down. Quincy Casey now with just over 5 minutes to go in this opening quarter. Tosses it to Newman. Newman, who's lightning and a bomber. You can see why right here. And a good pickup and play on first down.
And what I'm seeing is, because Alabama A&M, their weakness on defense, and what they're nervous about is their defensive secondary, so they're keeping their safeties high. And whenever you keep 2 safeties high, it covers you in the passing game, but it leaves you vulnerable underneath, particularly in the run game and jet sweeps.
The pass complete, the slot receiver here, and a good pickup as Jackson State is able to move the ball once again. That's Christian Allen, the redshirt freshman out of Mendenhall right here from the SIP.
Get the ball to your slot receiver and let your playmakers make plays for you. If the strength of this team is a wide receiver core, find creative ways to get the ball to your wide receivers.
To your point, testing that young secondary, Jay, as a penalty marker before the Ball gets snapped. Marty Adams, our referee here today.
I wondered if they called timeout or was it a flag? I'm pretty sure since they were going towards the Alabama A&M bench, the player was running off and the ball was going to be snapped. They might have gotten the timeout in.
There's no flag on the play. Jackson Snake snapped the ball before we were ready. This is their first warning. Will be a do-over. It'll be first down.
One of those clever rules, whenever there's a substitution made, you must give the defense an opportunity to change their personnel as well. Good job by the officials of sorting that out. Now if you're Alabama A&M, you blitz them. They're getting close to your red zone, you blitz them. See if they figured out a way to pick up the blitz. And you saw, just like clockwork, they brought both outside linebackers. And although Jackson State can move the ball, when it's all or nothing, teams are going to blitz them because they've struggled picking up the blitz.
I was going to say, Jay, we've had the opportunity to cover them over the weeks this season in this spring condensed season, and that was the package dialed up by Alabama State, and since then teams have continued to call that up as Marshall with some hard running up front. Marshall doing a good job, as we mentioned, filling in the shoes of both Alexander, who's out today, and Littles, who got hurt earlier.
And Marshall's close to finding a crease. And I know defensive coordinator Granville Eastman for Alabama A&M, you want to blitz him in this situation, but Marshall's come very close to gashing him. If you gash a blitz, it's a home run. Let's see if he dials it up right now. Third in a passing situation.
In the red zone, here's Casey back to survey, quickly getting the ball out of his hands. It's complete to Reed. Reed shaking off a defender. And the drive continues to move closer and closer to the end zone.
And now you're in sync. You want to bring the blitz, I'm going to get rid of the football quickly. And we know what Corey Reed can do in this football game. Make the defensive back miss, not only pick up the first down, but get him inside the 10. Razzle dazzle.
Little reverse here. It's Newman.
Nice
Newman, can he get to the outside?
Nice
Gets the block
move.
as well, but a flag is on the play.
But that came so far away from where the play was on the far sideline.
Substitution against the defense. 12 men on the field. This penalty line, result to the play, touchdown.
Well, credit Warren Newman with his third touchdown on the season.
Tip, he gets the pitch. Now watch the dead leg right here. Set him up with that dead leg. That one little hesitation was enough to spring Newman to the outside. If you're going to be a 5'8", 175-pound wide receiver, you better have a little wiggle with you. And he showed a little wiggle there on that touchdown run.
The point after attempt is good.
With 2:33 to go in the opening quarter of homecoming, your score, Tigers 7, A&M 7.
Got it. Well, it's tied up at 7-all. As a quick reminder to you, for the 42nd straight year, the NFL Draft is on ESPN. It's also on the NFL Network. Our game day crew will be over on ABC again this year, covering it from the college perspective. It all comes to you Thursday, April 29th through May 1st. And the HBCU Combine is currently underway over in Alabama. I'll tell you some names that we may be familiar with, Jay. A guy by the name of Mac McCain out of North Carolina A&T. He's a special guy, FCS All-American. He's one of many.
And McCain, three-time All-American, elected to opt out to get ready for the NFL Draft. He's got all the tools there. You talk about Jimmy Robinson, the name from a season ago, and Bethune-Cookman, who I thought was one of the fastest football players I've ever seen in my life. So it's a good opportunity, good exposure for those guys.
On the return, here's Cameron Young, who's got some speed as well for the Bulldogs. And you know what's unique about Jimmy Robinson? I'm being told that he ran a 4.240 at the Combine, and we've seen him live, and I can certainly believe it. Florida speed, baby.
And I put the Florida speed in there, but he's one of those guys where if the coach told me he could run that fast, I would believe it. Mm-hmm. Normally somebody says, oh, we clocked him sub 4.4 before sub 4.3. Okay, yeah, I hear that every week. I would believe if they told me Jimmy Robinson ran 4.2 something, would not be surprised. Good luck to that young man.
I think SWAC defenses are grateful that he's not moving over and they'll have to face him next year, as both Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M will be the new additions to the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
To the 34-yard line.
Now if you're Alabama A&M, Jackson State came back and scored. Nice drive. Your last drive, you fizzled with the ball, so you need to kind of get that offense going again, see if Akil Glass can find that hot streak again and pick apart this defense.
Well, the defense did a good job for the Tigers. -1 yards on that last drive for the Bulldogs. On the carry, there's Gary Quarles with a pickup of a few yards. That brings up 3rd down. Once more, you see the defense. Jackson State, can they get a stop here?
And they've changed their defensive philosophy, so they're going with a 3-4 defense. Rushing 3 linemen, that makes you vulnerable in the running game. In passing game, if you're going to come with a 3-4, you're probably going to bring some blitz. And you see, bottom of your screen, this is Aubrey Miller, who is your inside linebacker. They move him there. He's blitzing because of that pass rush position.
Flag before the snap. And it'll likely go against Alabama A&M for a false start.
False start. Offense. Number 8. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
That's on Zabrion Moore. So back up 5 yards.
And this is the key. Can they get to the pocket? When they can get Miller on the edge and rush him, they're okay. But when the defensive line's not getting any pressure, they're so vulnerable to being picked apart. So I want to see what type of creative looks they come up with to try and get to the pocket, because they have not shown the ability to get there with a traditional defensive 3-man or 4-man rush.
Rasheed Lyles, Shamani Crane, Pillow Smiley up front. Glass with time, and that's a flag in the secondary. You saw it as Zabrion Moore.
This pass is incomplete. There are penalty markers on the play.
Looked to have been held up, excuse me. That might have been Hilaire.
Alexander Shaw, number 17, who's been emerging as that reliable nickel cornerback.
Pass interference. Defense, number 17. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic 1st down.
And you'll see Shaw, he's got the position over the top, but as Hilaire starts to go upfield, easy penalty flag to throw.
Just the first penalty of the game for Jackson State, and Coach Prime always talks about smart, fast, tough, and discipline, and thus far they've played a disciplined quarter of football as we're in the final minute of the opening frame. Glass on the handoff, on the carry. There's Quarles spun down. Miller in on the stop along with Pillow Smiley.
With the stop on the Tigers.
That's a competitive nature right there. I mean, and if you're Alexander Shaw, you just sit and listen. Particularly when you talk about defensive back play.
Yeah.
If Coach Prime has something to say to you, don't talk back. Just listen, take it all in. Show you can be cerebral, but understand there's going to be a lot of demand to play cornerback or a secondary position at Jackson State, because you're going to get the best coaching out there and you'll be under the biggest microscope.
And the pressure, the communication, the miscommunication in the backfield. They almost got to Glass. Instead, he was able to hand it off, but Quarles, who had absolutely nowhere to go, a loss of 6 there. And Justin Reagan was there to quickly meet him.
For the first time, we're starting to see some defensive creativity from Jackson State this season, mixing it up, not going with the traditional looks. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, Dennis Thurman's been coaching for quite a long time, and he's got this Jackson State defense being creative with some new tricks. And oh yeah, it's HBCU football here on ESPN.
That's called the Sonic Boom of the South under the direction of Dr. Roderick Little. And Jay, I'm going to tell you, they were just playing a little Al Green. I was swaying back and forth the entire time of this broadcast. It's fun to be back on site, and they are one of the best, probably my favorite in the stands band.
I think we agree that they're the loudest band in the country.
Sure.
They're the loudest now.
3rd and 14 as we start this second quarter. Tie ball game. Akil Glass, the NFL prospect, stepping back. looks downfield, has a man on the outside, laying out for it, but not able to get to it is Ibrahim. That brings up 4th down.
And that's a great matchup there between Ibrahim, who is arguably the best wide receiver for Alabama A&M, taking on Nugget Warren, number 4, the best cornerback and NFL prospect for Jackson State, and trying to hit on a big play. Ibrahim showing the speed to get by him. That's going to be a matchup we have to pay attention to all afternoon.
Well, after that opening drive for Glass, Jackson State has figured some things out defensively. A couple of 2-and-outs now, or 3-and-outs rather, for Alabama A&M. I just misspoke. I'm just going to be quiet. You know, he shanked it. I misspoke. Yeah, let's just go to the school profiles here, Jay. When we talk about Jackson State, and yes, it's the sonic boom of the South, and everyone loves it. But when you think about just this institution, founded in 1877, the enrollment numbers continuing to rise, and you expect and anticipate that they will. Home of 4 Pro Football Hall of Famers. But in doing my research, I got to tell you that I enjoyed learning more about the programs that they offer, Jay. You can get a degree in meteorology from here. The only HBCU and one of the few schools in the country.
The meteorology program.
Yeah.
They were pretty accurate last night, because the weather that came through last night was horrible, and they predicted it.
Casey now will start this drive from his own 35-yard line. Casey rolling out, nowhere to go. And he's hit quickly there. Again, the question in the secondary is would they be able to contain Casey and these receivers, A.J. Harris in on the tackle.
And that's the pressure they're going to bring, not allow the young freshman to get comfortable. An offensive coordinator, Jason Phillips from Jackson State, if you know that, move the pocket a little bit, scramble, but they've done a good job of calling the short passing game so that Casey doesn't have to hold it for deep drops and he can get rid of it on time like you see right now.
Yeah, those quick releases, and again, it's Reed. Reed has been his favorite target so far here today.
What you get is, if you're the offensive coordinator, you're looking to see, are they going to start crowding the line of scrimmage when the defensive backs get frustrated giving up 5-6 yard routes? Then they tend to get aggressive and get a little closer to the line of scrimmage, and then that's when you set them up for taking a deep shot.
The handoff, and here he is in the open. That's Marshall down the sideline. He's saying almost to the end zone. They say yes, he's in. 54 yards to the house for Santee Marshall.
You see the vision. If you're going to be aggressive and try to blitz at the line of scrimmage, then you leave yourself vulnerable to a crease. And what you saw was Marshall exploit the crease for the big score.
Lynn Messiah on for the point after attempt. As there's a slight delay here.
Taking a look at it from the booth to confirm that he got into the end zone.
You see Connell Maynor on the sideline for Alabama A&M. He was close.
Touchdown.
He touched, yep, across the pylon, hit it. Extra point is good. They fire the cannon inside. Vet. And the vet is hopping. This is Coach Prime loving it. Let's go. He said, what's my name? Santee Marshall. Dallas Wings having the first 2 picks as well as the 5th and 7th picks as well. Catch it right here on ESPN. Santee Marshall with the longest run of the year for Jackson State. That 54-yard touchdown run puts the Tigers up 14-7. Let's go back to that drive, Jay. 3 plays, 66 yards, and they punch it in.
Yeah, and when you have to play run support, this is why they call it assignment football on the defense. So take a look at Joseph Narcisse. We talk about the inexperience in the secondary. Narcisse is just a freshman playing cornerback. He has run support. Nothing comes out this way. But look what happens. Look at the angle he takes when the ball is snapped. Relaxes a little bit. Uh-oh. You got caught in no man's land, and it becomes a foot race. Poor job of containing the outside run by the cornerback position in Narcisse allowed for that huge play from Marshall.
Well, Marshall, who transferred from Miles College out of the state of Alabama, another HBCU, to play here at Jackson State. And now it's A&M's turn. Jenkins with nobody around him, wide open, slips one defender. A first down and more for Brian Jenkins.
Now, if you're going to mention Miles College, now I got to give a shout out to Coach Ruffin and the job they've done being competitive in the SAIAC, and one of my favorite, most underrated bands in the land. They can blow down there in Miles College in Alabama. Back to football.
Yeah, back to football. But, you know, Alabama is the home of the most HBCUs in the country with 14. A&M is the largest in the state. Deep downfield, it's a competitive one. Who comes up with it? And it's incomplete. And Deshaun Warren was there on the coverage. Terrell Gardner nearly had it, but great play from Warren. It was 50-50.
And those are tremendous ball skills. I mean, when you're running that fast, full speed, your back turned to the offense, to have the ability to time the football, not lose your balance, and come up with an incomplete pass, that's a great job of playing the cornerback position by Warren.
Warren, who was sitting there on an island, transferred from junior college, and now with the Tigers. Quickly out of the hands of Glass. There's Hilaire. He's got blocks up ahead. And he may have stepped out of bounds just short of the first down marker, maybe by a couple of yards. But good design play.
Great job by wide receiver. If you're going to be a great wide receiver core, must do a good job of blocking for one another. Seal the edge there by Brian Jenkins, number 2, getting in the face of Warren, creating a running lane for Hilaire.
So 3rd and short. You see the Bulldogs 1 of 3 today on 3rd down. Quarles in the backfield, in motion. Glass gets it out. What a pass over the hands. There's Quarles. Quarles with the open field, and he's in. How did that happen? Great play by Glass, and then Quarles did the rest.
Gutsy play by Glass, but you have to do it. It was a high-risk, high-reward play selection, and the location of that throw was unbelievable. Look at this. He has to throw him open. He's covered, but he knows he's going to make a break towards the line of scrimmage, and hits Quarles in stride, and Quarles takes care of it from there. You know, the more you watch Alabama A&M, this offense reminds me of like a Big 12 offense, like Texas Tech and Oklahoma. They're going to spread out the whole field, make you cover sideline to sideline, end zone to end zone with their creative play calling. And that was a risky play there, but rewarded. We got a tie ball game.
4 plays, 65 yards, and just over a minute, and it's Aqeel Glass and the Alabama A&M Bulldogs who's saying, oh yeah, it's about time we even this score. All the crown, the chain, the belt. It's WrestleMania weekend in my hometown of Tampa, so why not bring it to the SIP here?
Shout out to my man Titus O'Neil, who'll be hosting that, but they call that the 251 belt. That's the area code down there in Huntsville, Alabama. They got the bling to go along with it. This is an offense that expects to score a lot of points, and they tied it up at 14.
Jay,
but that throw,
yeah, that's what I'm sitting back and just saying, oh my. You know, we talked about, yes, he is an NFL prospect. He's got the talent to play on Sundays. He's got the size, the arm, the leadership skills. Really headsy guy, but would you have made that throw back in your day?
I might have thrown it incomplete rather than take the sack, but nice touch, and that's the stuff you practice, having that touch on the ball. And we'll be able to give you a show a little bit later after this kick possibly of what we're talking about in terms of the soft, knowing your offense, and that was just an outstanding play by Alabama A&M with the creative play calling once again.
Well, an entertaining ball game so far. SWAC East division title still up for grabs. A short kick here, and on the return, and quickly tripped up. But we'll go back to that play, Jay, because we want to salivate over it just a little bit more, looking at
Here's the key. It's a 53-yard touchdown, right? But look, right here, when you freeze it, he's on the 50-yard line. The ball's going to be caught right here around the 52-yard line. Look at the touch when he throws it. The receiver's still on the 49, but he knows he's going to cut upfield and hit him in stride. And that's the difference between the good ones and the great ones, having the ability to execute that play.
Quincy Casey now with his chance to display just what he can do. The pass complete to Dalen Baldwin. Baldwin was a big physical receiver, and one of the things that just kept Granville Eastman, the DC for Alabama A&M, up, he said, I'm most impressed with their catch radius. You don't even have to be open, and they just have such a wide catch radius. Not looking there on the outside was Reed, and it's incomplete.
The miscommunication, and what they're doing is they're finding the one-on-one matchups. On the previous play, the first time Baldwin had seen one-on-one coverage all afternoon, and now they want to go back to Corey Reed, but a miscommunication. But when you've got the 6'3" wide receivers with that size, that radius is hard to defend. And I really expect for Jackson State to try to call up some more hitch routes and allow these guys to run after catch and use their physicality against this inexperienced secondary of Alabama A&M.
So the play was, they just changed the footballs. That's what we're seeing here. So 87 pass yards thus far for Jackson State, through a quarter and some change. 2nd and 10.
They're double covering Baldwin up top. So if you're going to throw the football, you've got a one-on-one relationship long side of the field to get the ball to Corey Reed at the bottom of your screen. Can't happen. Can't happen. When they're substituting footballs in there, you've got time. You've got to know what you're going to do. In a situation like that, you've crossed the 50-yard line. Get up to the line of scrimmage. You're going to need every yard on a drive like this, and that's a mental error on Jackson State.
The Tigers trying to respond here. Casey feels the pressure, and he's brought down. Eli Jackson was there to wrap him up and sack him down.
Well, there was never a question when you talk to Alabama A&M that they thought their defensive line was going to win the battle at the line of scrimmage. And you'll see number 44 and 91 do a little stunt. Yelding and Eli Jackson, 44, converge on the pocket, come up with a big play for the defense.
And now that penalty looms even larger now. 3rd and a long way to go. And back on their side of the field at the 50-yard line. Here's Casey. And Marshall wasn't even expecting it. The pass incomplete, so it'll bring up 4th down. And that was almost close to a lateral pass there, Jay.
Yeah, I thought they were going to mark it a lateral. Let's take a look. When he releases the football, that is a lateral that they got away with. Get the punt team on the field in a hurry. Get this ball kicked before it costs you another 6 yards of field position.
Good chance here and a teaching moment for Coach Prime with Quincy Casey, who's making his first start of the season. Here's Hilaire on the punt return, trying to get to the outside, and that edge has some blocks. And a late flag coming out at the end, Jay.
Hilaire's the burner of this wide receiver core and showing you. I thought there was absolutely no way he was going to be able to take the edge on that coverage, but he was able to outrun Arrington and get to the edge and get upfield, pick up some yards, and there may be another penalty on top of that.
Jay, he's from the muck. That's what they call it down in Florida. Yeah, Belgrade, the muck.
Personal foul. Late hit number 30 against Jackson State. First hit. Automatic first down.
I learn you if you just stay with me, Jay.
Okay.
Let's catch you up on Alabama A&M. Let you know a little bit about them. The maroon and white, just over 6,000. They are home to Hall of Famer John Stallworth, also the great Robert Mathis as well. And again, go ahead, Jay.
No, that's a diverse group. I like the diversity. Gerald Miles Clark, the runner. And how about Big Rube? Ruben Studdard. But I'm also going to give a shout out to Fred Lester. He deserves to be there too, one of the great runners of the football program. How about Bronski Towns? They know what I'm talking about when I say Bronski Towns. He goes along with the institution down there in Huntsville, Alabama.
One of the top HBCU producers of STEM majors, from engineering to food science. And get this, the only HBCU to offer an accredited forestry degree program.
Forestry degree.
Like, you know, like, what's the bear?
Smokey the Bear?
Smokey the Bear.
Okay.
Only you can prevent forest fires? All right.
And I'm not surprised by the STEM program because of the location of being in Huntsville, Alabama. That's where NASA's headquartered down south as well. So they call Huntsville the Rocket City. Did you know that?
I did not.
But not Houston. It's Huntsville they call the Rocket City. And I'll tell you what, when they're throwing the football all around the field, it's a rocket offense as well.
Jackson State spins another timeout. They have one remaining in the half. Well, Jay, when you think about this Alabama A&M team and just what they have been through so far this season, Alcorn State elects to opt out of this season, so they win by a forfeit their first game. And then when they take the field against South Carolina State, a very good opponent in the MEAC.
They made it look easy.
They made it look really easy, a 31-7 decision. And then after that, a whole lot of waiting and anticipating to get back on the field.
And that's why they're the #1 ranked team there. This offense is good. They can score points, but the defense did such a good job there. And they're frustrated. They want to play, and we're seeing it right now. They're working out the kinks, but I think we're seeing some flashes of why they're the #1 ranked team in HBCU right now. The ability to put points on the board, an aggressive offensive caller and play caller there. And if the defense can catch up. Now, I do see some things defensively that have to keep you up at night if you're a Bulldog fan. But you have to wonder, can you win a shootout week in and week out?
Well, it's been an entertaining game thus far between Alabama A&M and Jackson State out of the SWAC East. They're playing for an opportunity to go to the SWAC Championship next month, and that pass is complete. Another first down as Hilaire, who has been the intended target.
And you have to figure out a way to get pressure. I mean, look at the route. He's looking at the progressions. First crossing route, second man through, soft spot in the defense.
Here's Quarles trying to get to the outside and not able to escape Keontae Hampton. Hampton, a great sideline to sideline guy, and now you see well after the play is complete, penalty markers come out.
It'll be some type of personal foul. I know one of the flags will probably be on number 32, Javian Adams, the freshman safety for Jackson State. Got caught in a little verbal altercation. Are they going to flag both because 2 flags did come out, or will it be just one?
Actual play. Dead ball. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 32, Jackson State. Throw punch. He has been disqualified.
Ejected for throwing the punch. They're not playing him. If you remember the first time we called Jackson State, Adams got ejected in the first half for targeting. The true freshman still has to learn to control his temper there. It's not there. It happened more in the middle of the field between Adams and an offensive lineman. I believe it was Dexter Fuqua.
4 penalties now for 50 yards for Jackson State, and that moves Alabama A&M just near the 20-yard line, The delayed handoff there from Quarles, and Quarles, who is brought down with the smackdown from Aubrey Miller.
That's reading the keys, because that was a well-designed play and a fantastic open field tackle by Aubrey Miller. Miller does not make that tackle. That's a touchdown. I mean, this is that sprint draw. Nobody's there, but he makes the tackle and finishes off. Is it WrestleMania weekend?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think he's coming for the belt, Jay. For Quarlesworth, after scoring that last touchdown against the Tigers defense, Aubrey Miller taking it personal. 2nd and 6. Glass with the pass, complete to Jenkins.
Trying to pick up the first down with that spot. Looks like they will have a first down. Defense is thinking you're going to the end zone. They were actually just trying to pick up some yardage, and they mark them a little bit short.
Let me correct myself. That was Sabrion Moore on the outside, the senior leader of this wide receiver core. 1st and goal for the Bulldogs. See Glass making changes, seeing something. Under 10 to go on the play clock. Decides to keep it himself, Jay, and he gets into the end zone.
Would you rather be lucky or good? Because that play was pure luck. That was a busted play from the onset, going the wrong direction. The running back went to the left, but a good job of keeping his head about himself. Aquil Glass. Look where the running back's going. The fake is not there. It's an option pitch. Nobody counted for Glass to run the ball into the end zone for the score. That's why I said, you want to be lucky or would you rather be good?
Yeah.
I'll take both.
And you said in the open, that's an added dimension of his game that we've seen throughout his progression as a college quarterback. Corey on to make it 21-14.
I got the crown now. They brought out the crown.
Well, Aquil Glass is wearing the crown, plenty to dance about, his team up by a touchdown.
He's trying to get the guys ready for a basketball game, but more than anything, trying to get them ready for life.
Check out all 8 episodes of Why Not Us, North Carolina Central Basketball, now streaming exclusively on ESPN Plus and presented by The Undefeated. If you had a chance to watch that series, it was so entertaining and a great inside look at NCCU, thanks to Chris Paul and Stephen A. Smith and all those connected to the project. And a big shout out to the head coach, Lavelle Moten.
I'm about to say, you got to mention Coach Moten now, one of the hottest coaching prospects out there. Which I guess in basketball they call it mid-major level, mid-major basketball. He's done a good job with that program there in Durham, North Carolina. Can I apologize to the folks in Huntsville, Alabama?
Okay.
It's the 256.
Okay.
I said the 251. Blame it on
America,
my mouth, not my heart.
America, appreciate this. One of the rare times.
Don't get used to it.
From Jay Walker, here on the return is Littles. And a big return here from Josh Littles. Littles has a couple of guys to beat. And a late flag as Littles sets up a great return in Bulldog territory. We'll see what the final call is after that 52-yard return.
And this is the effort that Coach Prime is looking for. You know, on the field, sometimes things are going to get tough, but you have to fight. Show that toughness, a little bit extra. Great return by Littles. However, they're going to bring it back. That's the, what did you say Coach Prime said? They want to be smart, tough, fast, and disciplined. That's not smart when you get a personal foul. And where's the discipline to prevent that? And that's what he's marking down. When he pulls out the notebook, and you'll see the play is over. Number 42 just goes and extends the arm after the play's over with. Guys on the ground, no need for contact. Called it a little bit close, but you have to know that, why do that?
Even with the penalties, still good field position for Jackson State as they start the drive. And just out of the reach of Christian Allen. Thus far, your impressions of Quincy Casey standing in at quarterback?
he's done his job. I don't think they put the game in his hands to win or lose. I mean, the passing game has been very limited. Quick throws, 3-step drops, not allowing him to hold it. So I think he's been efficient about that. I just saw the numbers, 8 of 13, 87 yards. That's been the play call they've had for him. We haven't seen him take the deep shots yet.
That's because they've had Marshall. Marshall, who has done a nice job on the ground, filling in
Marshall carries for the Tigers.
for both Alexander and Greg Williams.
This is a part of the field where you make your money as a quarterback. Third down, obvious passing situation. You have to be able to make throws from the pocket. Looks like blitz is coming from the weak side. Top of your screen, Alabama A&M showing that they're going to blitz and bring in Armani Holloway, number 20, who's normally their Mike linebacker. Roaming around close to the line of scrimmage looking for a lane to rush the passer.
Casey drops back, tries to make a big throw across. And what a throw and catch, really, as Christian Allen is able to haul it in. But you got to like the arm strength there from Casey.
Best throw of the game for Casey. From the far left hash all the way across the field. Nice location. Allen gets the foot down inbounds to pick up a first down for the Tigers. Big time throw.
So you see Casey starting to get into a rhythm here. Nice pickup there of 11 yards for first down, and he's back to throwing it again and misses Reed.
And those are the throws you just have to get in better sync with your wide receiver core. First time that Quincy Casey starting, just a true freshman, and you're going to have some mishaps like that. Miscommunication between the quarterback and the wide receiver. Those will go away as he continues to improve.
Hands it off to Marshall. Marshall sheds a tackler. Marshall still on his feet and dragging defenders with him. A good pickup of just about 7 or 8 yards. So that'll bring up third and short.
We did not have Marshall on our depth chart, but he is an impact player in this game. Where do they keep finding these running backs from at Jackson State? The ability to bounce off of would-be tacklers, leave him in the dust, and keep his legs moving forward.
Jackson State 4 of 6 on third down.
If they bring pressure, you have to attack the middle of the field. They're giving you the middle of the field if they bring this blitz.
They hand it off, and seeing something in a crease right there is Marshall. Marshall with the first down. He continues to help carry the load with Quincy Casey.
And this is a good job. So the middle of the field was going to be open, so they pulled the guard, Jalen Jones, to attack the middle of the field. The defense was giving it to you rather than throw where the blitzing linebackers were coming from. They decided to pull a guard. He had an entourage. Good job of execution by the JSU offense.
Once more now, Kamani Clark in, and Clark with really no room to run. When you mentioned Jalen Jones, no relation to the Jalen Jones who was the starting quarterback through the first 5 games for Jackson State, who is the team's second leading rusher. But since Santee Marshall has stepped in that backfield, he's got 13 carries for 100+ yards, and you see Jones with number 4 on his helmet there looking on from the sideline. And he really did a nice job for them this season. Just a couple of INTs, untimely. What a move there on the outside. How about your boy? Go ahead. Step into the end zone for the touchdown. Warren Newman. I like that. The announcer says, Sweet Feet Newman. We're going to take that real quick.
I mean, shifty guys in space, show me that wiggle. I talked about get him the football. Watch the wiggle and the shake and hit the gas. Accelerate from 0 to 60 in a hurry. Mr. Excitement, Warren Newman.
And we're tied at 21 all. Once again, 4:32 in this second quarter. But I tell you, This has been an entertaining game thus far as the SWAC East still up for grabs. Well, this week's Sunday night baseball game is the series finale between Bryce Harper and the Phillies taking on the Braves. Our coverage begins at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. Baseball tonight, and then Sunday night countdown. Braves, remember a guy by the name of Deion Sanders, who was a dynamic athlete all across both the football field and the baseball diamond. He suited up with the Braves back in the early 90s. And Jay, what has he told us that story about, sleeping with the baseball bat? I mean, he loves baseball. He even got a chance to check out Jackson State baseball yesterday.
He's a fan of it. He's an athlete, one of the greatest athletes of our generation by far, one of the greatest ones up there. And the appreciation for the game, and has to be proud of the fight his team is showing right now. I mean, for Jackson State, if they lose this game here, they're pretty much eliminated from an opportunity to make it to the SWAC championship. Here at home, you had a feeling that they would fight, and they're showing some heart, and that's all you can ask for your football team.
Back deep, and here's Cameron Young with space, penalty marker on the field. But Young with a good return. We'll see what the call is from Marty Adams.
Well, the field position will be moved back a little bit more, but Aquil Glass, we know he can throw the football all over the football field, but today, what has he done? The element of surprise, making good decisions in the running game. You see the quick pitch to get the ball to his running back Quarles out in space, and then when the play's broken down, recognizes pitch is not there. Let me call my own number and get into the end zone. The added dimension of mastering the running game from the quarterback position by Glass.
He's accounted for 2 of the 3 scores here for Alabama A&M. And Glass, who is just an even-keeled demeanor quarterback. We've seen the big arm. Finds Ibrahim. Ibrahim with a block, and Ibrahim still on his feet and just near the 40-yard line.
I mean, they make you cover so much ground. I mean, that was a hard sell. 60 outside stretch zone read. Everybody on the defense thought the ball was going to the run to the right, threw it back across the field to a dangerous threat, and Ibrahim at wide receiver. They keep you on your toes defensively.
Ibrahim, the preseason first team all SWAC selection, down the middle of the seam, wow. And that's big play. Say Zabrion Moore in for the score. 61-yard strike to Zabrion Moore.
If that ball was not thrown in stride, I mean, that might have been an interception, but a great job. Look at the location and placement of the throw. Does not have to break stride. Defense can't get there away from the safety. He held number 5, Markel Gladney, middle of the field. Wide receivers love when you do that. We're seeing it all from Aquil Glass. Did I tell you he was real deal, Tiff?
Oh, yeah.
Quarterback to quarterback. I knew he had the ability to make it happen.
The extra point attempt is good.
With 3:45 to go in the first half. Tigers 21, A&M.
All the trappings back out on the sideline for Alabama A&M. Aquil Glass, 6 straight completions. That one finding Zabrion Moore, and you see the high-octane, explosive type of offense that Alabama A&M brings to the field.
When you come in as a quarterback, we showed him running the football, but the key is having the ability to throw the football from the pocket. We saw the first nice throw there to Hilaire, then the touchdown grab to Ibrahim, and then the nice touch on the swing pass to Quarles out of the backfield. One of the nicest touch throws you'll see that won't get credit in the stat sheet, but had a huge impact on this game. And this right here, you can't throw it any better. I mean, that is what you teach right there. You can tell Aquil Glass, not only has he been coached up very well, but has the ability to execute the offense. That's the other half of the battle. What a tremendous first half for this young man.
And we had an opportunity to talk with Connell Maynard this week just about the type of young man that he is, the leader that he is, helping to take a program that had seen some down days and turn them into a winning type of contender. And they're trying to capture a spot in the SWAC championship game. Their last visit there was back in 2011. They've only won one SWAC championship, Jay, and they're trying to eye a second here.
Back when Anthony Jones was the head coach there.
That's
and
right.
That was a team that had a lot of defense led by, you used to call them the Luke boys, the Luke brothers. Yeah, Kelsey, the quarterback, and his brother was the running back on that team. And now, with Connell Maynard, and you want to talk about opposites. And, you know, sometimes give Coach Jones his credit. He was a laid-back demeanor type of guy, methodical, had the defense, and then you bring in Connell Maynard, who's anything but laid back. Anything but laid back, ultra competitive, and offensively creative.
And Jones, who led them to 5 SWAC East Division titles and that SWAC championship back in 2006. And fumbled there, bobbled, but it rolls out of bounds. Littles and the Tiger are fortunate there. But you go back to Connell Maynard and his era, what he's done. They've finished second the last couple of seasons, but his coaching influence started with this man right
Bill.
here, Bill Hayes.
I wish I could draw like Wild Bill in front of his name there, because Wild Bill Hayes is one of the coaching legends there, toughest man you'll ever meet.
And when Maynard had an opportunity to talk about, you know, his former coach, he said that was the thing that stood out. That's what he instilled in me. I got everything from him as a man, but that toughness piece was unparalleled.
And when you talk about Bill Hayes, and I call him Wild Bill, true friend of the game, but look at the accomplishments that he had, Tiff.
Yeah.
I mean, and also that one at the bottom, member of the Black College Hall of Fame, the national championships, and I will say this, nobody could say Aggie pride like Bill Hayes. 1, 2, 3, Aggie pride. He was that guy and put a lot of that bite in the first verse of that Blue Death defense.
Here's 2nd and 8 for Jackson State on the carry. It's Marshall again. Santee Marshall is just showing off on national TV here today. Marshall, who again, you mentioned, Jay, he didn't even have him on the depth chart. And yet he comes in, boom, like gangbusters.
And they're setting him up. So Alabama A&M wants to get to the quarterback, and they're trying to put themselves in blitz position, but they're leaving these creases along the line of scrimmage, particularly on the left side behind Tony Gray and Jalen Jones. And Jackson State's been able to hurt them with some pretty nice, impressive runs.
I think after just 1 quarter of play, we're like, who is this kid? That's nice completion out to Corey Reed on 1st down.
A nice concentration there. It looked like the cornerback, number 25, Jermaine Green, was coming over to dislodge a football, and the concentration by Reed to maintain possession to help out his true freshman quarterback. Now take the deep shot. Now, it's time to take the deep shot. Right before the half, you know, the cornerbacks are getting closer and closer. Now you set them up and allow your freshman to throw the ball deep down the field.
Marshall instead gets the handoff, and he's wrapped up quickly by Quintravis Kelly. Kelly, a preseason second team all-SWAC selection. 5th-year senior out of Montgomery, Alabama.
Now, we know that Alabama A&M wants to blitz, right? That's been their key. If you want to move Jackson State out of field position, you blitz your linebackers, but the threat of Marshall running the football or the running game, finding the crease, makes them pull off the gas a little bit, so they're not going with a blitz right now. Pure soft coverage across the field.
Already past the century mark for Marshall. Casey delivers. Pass complete. 1st down. Move the sticks. That's Dalen Baldwin. Brought down by Green.
Now that you got the 1st down, I think it's time you step on the gas a little bit for Jackson State. You only have 1 1st down. You just crossed midfield. You got 1 timeout. I wouldn't be so methodical. I wouldn't be a little bit more attack mode right now.
Just over a minute to go in the 1st half. Kamani Clark with nowhere to go, so they keep the clock running here, Jay.
Yeah, or you either call a timeout or you get to the line of scrimmage. But
remember, they only have one.
Yeah, that's why I said go to the hurry-up offense. But we've seen before, and no rush to get the play call.
3 receivers to the bottom of your screen. A lot of time taken off. Casey with the look on the outside. That's Newman. Newman, who was brought down. The tackle made by number 31, Jonathan Struggs.
Good job of getting out of bounds by Warren Newman, realizing there was a threat of being tackled inside. Did not try to pick up the extra yardage that would have kept the clock running. Extends to the sideline. Nice recognition by the senior from New Orleans, Louisiana.
And this is an opportunity for Jackson State to try to even the score before going into the locker room. 6 yards to gain on 3rd down. Casey has an open man, and quickly shifting out of bounds is Reed.
And that was a bully route by Corey Reed. I mean, he sold the go route, did a nice swim move to come back, and nice separation. That's something to take a look at. When you've got Corey Reed being guarded by a freshman, number 26, Narcisse, Reed expects to win that matchup each time. So now you got to give him a little help over the top, and that's A&M moves to safety to help in the coverage, which leaves you vulnerable.
Casey trying to pick him apart, but dangerous throw, nearly intercepted. Boy, getting away with that one because Caleb Riley almost came away with it.
And just going the wrong place with the football, didn't recognize the coverage. That many white jerseys around a single receiver, find someplace else to go with the football.
10th play of this drive for Jackson State. 21 seconds remaining in the opening half.
Pay attention to number 10, Warren Newman in the slot.
Casey with time, now flushed out of the pocket and brought down. Jackson State spending their 3rd and final timeout. Well, coming up at the half, folks, you know we got to hear from Jay Walker. Gimme 5 is on the way. Plus, I get an opportunity to sit down with Coach Prime and just get his thoughts and insights on this Jackson State program.
And I will say, I couldn't do the 5 best defensive backs. Hardest one there, so we narrowed it down. Make it cornerbacks, which was very hard. We're talking about HBCU NFL cornerbacks, which was a tough one, and Coach Prime played the cornerback position, the highest level, so I had to dig down deep, Tiff. I had to dig down real deep.
And I'm sure those folks across the country, they're going to dig down deep with their Twitter fingers and have something to say about it, too.
You left off him. Just make sure you're correct, and there's a difference between a cornerback and a safety. I will say that. These are cornerbacks.
This ought to be fun. I can't wait.
I want to hear what Coach Prime had to say to you at halftime. America wants to know.
Yeah, enjoyed our conversation. He came in rolling through on a bicycle. That's what he said. He says like, he stays in shape that way. Just rolling the bike around campus. Important 3rd and long here for Jackson State, wanting to get on the board before heading into the locker room, and they'll have an extra minute or 2 to think it over as Alabama A&M.
This will be a 30-second timeout.
Spins the timeout.
And this is where you coach them up. If you complete the ball on 3rd down and you're short of the 1st down, have that special teams unit ready to go, because you can't afford to spike it, and so you have to know what you're doing. So you're calling almost 2 plays at once.
Okay, Jay, but let's go back to just the last few games that we've seen, and that's been an area of concern for Jackson State, is the fact that special teams has kind of let them down.
I think he's gaining trust in the kickers. You know, early on they missed, 5 extra points in the first 2 games, and they've been getting better, and the kickers have made them all today. So I'm thinking go for the completion, try and get beyond the sticks, but if you don't, you have that unit ready to go. With a 1st down, you can get your special teams unit out there. The clock will stop for just a little bit. Situational football, that can be the difference in close football games.
Casey back to pass.
Short, tick, tick, tick.
All right, quickly,
You can't
as
spike
Allen.
it. You cannot spike it.
So they get to the line. Will they get a playoff in time?
No. Okay, you just gave the ball back.
This is a true freshman, remember, under center, redshirt freshman for Jackson State, getting his first start of the season. So a missed opportunity there for the Tigers going into the locker room. Fortunately for Jackson State, they do have an opportunity to get the ball back at the start of the third quarter. So both teams trot into the locker room, Jay, a 28-21 advantage in favor of the visitors, the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. And we're joined now by Jackson State head coach Deion Sanders. And coach, just walk me through those final seconds of this half, the idea to try to get a playoff before the end of the
Guys, we're undisciplined. We're not thinking football. We don't understand situational football down and distance, offensively, defensively, or anything right now.
Santee Marshall, where did he come from?
Excuse me?
Santee Marshall, your running back. Where did he come from?
Let me tell you something. He's been on the scout team for several weeks, came out of nowhere and straight out balling. And I just noticed this kid had something special, a gift, and we went with it. And he's paying dividends. I love his tenacity. I love what he brings to the table. I just wish others would join him.
Coach Prime, you talked about going into this game, seeing Aquil Glass up close and personal. He's gotten off to a pretty hot start. What do you have to do defensively to slow him down?
We got to run the same coverage. Have the defense playing one coverage, have the defense playing another coverage. We got to be on common ground, man. We just got to talk, communicate, and be disciplined and play fundamental football. We're calling fundamental football right now, and we're not executing.
All right, Coach, we appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
God bless you, D. I love JSU.
So the Tigers trailing by a touchdown because Alabama A&M has come on with their dancing shoes here in the SIP.
No laundry, no.
Here at Jackson State, Walter Payton went on to be a Super Bowl champion, an exceptional human being, widely considered as the greatest running back of all time. And I'm sitting inside the Walter Payton Center with Deion Sanders, a.k.a. Coach Prime, in his first season as the head coach of the Jackson State Tigers. When we're sitting in this center, named after Walter Payton, like when you walk in it every time,
you think about
what do you think?
The Payton family, the legacy of Walter Payton. You think about the Robert Brazils, the Jackie Slaters, the Lombardies, and some of the guys I played with. The Houston Hoovers, the Darren Connors that I played with in Atlanta, the Jimmy Smiths. You think about the legacy of so many excellent players. W.C. Gordon, the mastermind of all this. And you just want to, it says building on tradition and blazing new trails. That's really what we want to do. And you don't want to embarrass the legacy. You want to continue what they've started.
How has this time as the coach of Jackson State really challenged you as a man?
It challenged me to be patient. Because I have no patience in anything I do. Everybody knows that because I work my butt off and I want what I want because I felt like I worked my butt off and I earned it. I'm from that school. But being patient, understanding that, hey, man, you got to get some kids in here that's like-minded. Hey, man, you got to develop the kids that are here. Hey, man, you got to allow them to understand how important education is because 99% of these kids aren't going pro until you get that structure and that discipline and that smartness and that toughness and those fast players that can think on their feet. Everybody talking about we want to change the environment, you want to change the culture, you got to change the people to do that.
And is that a part of your overall vision for this Jackson State program? I mean, lay out the vision for me as seen by you, Coach Prime.
Well, everybody talk about leveling the playing field, but you got to level the playing field in all facets. We want to impress on people's things that we hadn't seen. We really want to give opportunity to those that may not normally get opportunity. And that's a lot of kids from HBCUs.
Why Jackson State?
And why not Jackson State? Don't we deserve the best? Don't we deserve the structure? Don't we deserve the commitment to excellence? Don't we deserve the spotlight? Don't we deserve opportunity? Not only Jackson State, but HBCUs in general. We're here having a conversation on ESPN Don't we deserve that? So after this conversation concludes, somebody's going to watch this game. And somebody's going to watch this game with influence that will see somebody on that field and say, you know what? I want that. I want him. Man, I want that analyst. I want her. She has that hit. That's what we're just trying to create opportunities.
And what a grand opportunity he has here in Jackson. We'll be back with more.
Feel the clarity of non-drowsy children's Claritin allergy relief.
And relief from symptoms caused by over 200 outdoor and indoor allergens.
Because to a kid, a grassy hill is
Jackson. When we come back, give me 5 with Jay Walker.
What if we just did it ourselves? What if we stopped?
We're in the SIP at the vet, 28-21 at the half. Alabama A&M, the visitors, on top, but let's just listen in. They're grooving. I was checking to see, Jay, if you were going to start singing this guy, you know, Piece of My Love.
I'm going to give props to Dr. Roderick Little, director of bands here in Jackson. We said they're the loudest band in the country. They're proving it, and they're good, too. Quality precision. Hey, Tiff, you know what I missed back in the day? They used to say here, stomp your feet, close your mouth, because here come the baddest band in the South. Sonic, boom, boom. Oh, I just had to do that.
Yet you were just messing up my vibe, because it's a vibe right now. Back here at the half, Jay Walker, Tiffany Green, we are so delighted to be here with you, and it's that time in the broadcast where we count it up, 1, 2, 3, 4. Give me 5.
All right, Tiff, how about this week's Give Me 5? You know, I'm the quarterback there. You see the release there. But I'm going with the top 5 best cornerbacks. Cornerbacks from Black college and NFL history. All right? Start off with my man, Wallpaper. Everson Walls, Dallas Cowboy great. Played at Grambling State under the legendary Eddie Robinson. Number 4, let's go with their rival. You mentioned Grambling. You know, you got to mention Southern. We got to keep it fair, right? Anise Williams. Deion Sanders said that was who he would roll with, top cornerback, so I see it there. Number 3, let's pay homage to the home team here. The legendary Lim Barney, one of the flashiest cornerbacks you'll see. Before there was prime, in terms of style and fashion, it was definitely Lim Barney there. So you see a lot of SWAC there, right? We got Grambling, we got Southern, we got Jackson State. What else you think we can have there? And you know why? There's so much there because they play the pass down here.
Oh, yeah.
They play the pass.
But wait a minute, who's coming in at number 2? Because I don't see any love out of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. You got something from that?
All right, well, you got to see what it is. And let's go at number 2. You missed again, Tiffany. We're going with the Hall of Famer, Willie Brown. Old man Willie, as they called him, rest in peace. The most memorable interception in Super Bowl history, probably. And for number 1, I'm going to go with, he was Deion's favorite cornerback, who Deion tried to play like, and I'm going to give it up to 6'3", 6'4" Mel Blount, playing cornerback, NFL Hall of Famer. But look at that on the bubble list, Tiff. Albert Lewis was that dude at Grambling State University. And then you talk about Rasheed Mathis. How about the new school, representing the MEAC out of Bethune-Cookman University? We had to put him in there, but I think the difference is in the SWAC, they're pass happy.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry Rice, everybody else. And in the MEAC, they play a little bit more towards the run-oriented, so you don't see the defensive backs that you normally would. That's my Gimme 5. I know y'all got something to say about it. Hit me up at Jay Walker Sky, and we'll see if I missed anybody, but I doubt it.
Uh-oh. Is that the Q's in the building? They just might be struggling in the vet. Come back with us. ESPN College Football presented by McDonald's. A great crowd in the stands here at the Vets. The spring homecoming of this shortened season, 28-21. With Alabama A&M on top as we say hello and welcome you back in alongside Jay Walker. I'm Tiffany Green. Well, we started out talking about quarterbacks, and I think it bears repeating. We've got the known in Aquil Glass and the unknown in Quincy Casey. How have they fared so far in your eyes?
About like you thought. Aquil Glass, bright lights on, playing in front of America for the first time nationwide, and everybody likes what he's doing. My phone is blowing up. He's that good the way he's been on display. play, spinning the football. We came in assuming Aquil Glass would have to play big and all the attention on him, and he stepped up and delivered, done everything you like to see from one of the top senior cornerbacks in the country, Aquil Glass.
All right, so Glass has done his thing in the first half. Meanwhile, when you think about Quincy Casey and just what he's been able to do, he's been aided by a guy by the name of Santee Marshall. And just going into the locker room, Coach Prime shared with us, this is a guy who was on the scout team and just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, they might have found something special in Marshall. He's been the guy to step up, no doubt about it. When you're starting a true freshman quarterback against a team as talented as Alabama A&M, you're going to need some supplementary players to really step up. And Marshall became the feature to go along with that great wide receiver core that they have. And if he can continue to break off some runs like this and keep the heat off of Casey, the quarterback, then Jackson State has a chance at pulling off the upset.
120 yards on the ground for Marshall. The transfer from Miles College had a 54-yard touchdown run, the longest of the season for the Tigers. And this young man out of New Orleans has just been absolutely tearing it up here so far. So is Aquil Glass, though. Got to give him his props and love. 13 of 18 for 238 yards and 3 touchdowns. Through the air, 4 touchdowns, if you count that up.
And once again, we're talking about how the first half ended a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine if JSU could have just had 3 points, right, on that drive. Then all of a sudden it's a 4-point game. You get the ball back, and you get ready to take the lead possibly. You put the threat on their offense, and they've got to close out those halves a little bit better. I don't know if it's they don't have the comfort level going for it, the aggressiveness, but they've left some points on the board a couple times in terms of ending out the half.
Well, they will start this third quarter from the 30-yard line of Tiger territory. And so you think about, okay, what are going to be the in-game adjustments, the halftime adjustments for Granville Eastman to try to slow down this rushing attack by Marshall?
I think since he's playing with the lead, he can crowd the line of scrimmage again a little bit more and stop the running backs and force them to throw the ball. But that's where the quandary is, because the defensive backs, they're inexperienced, and they have let them down in this game. So I expect A&M to keep everything real close to the chest and force them to drive the ball down the field, not give up the big play.
That was Caleb Riley on the coverage of Corey Reed. Reed, who has been the popular target so far in the first half, had 6 catches for 43 yards for JSU.
And they're definitely going after the freshman. You know, when you look at Corey Reed, what he's doing, number 9, and every time he gets lined up against Joseph Narcisse, then that's where they're trying to go with the football, trying to take advantage of the inexperience of Narcisse.
Pass complete to Baldwin, who is still able to keep the play going, and that's good enough. That second effort there for a first down.
They've got the big bodies, use them, running quick slants, utilizing the quick game in the passing game and allowing the wide receivers to run after catch.
Casey accompanied by Marshall in the backfield, looking to the sideline to get the call. Opening minute of this third quarter. Marshall with the handoff. And Marshall, who had absolutely nowhere to go, and a little extracurricular after the play. You saw there between Marcus Cushnie and one of the Tigers' O-linemen. Cushnie is one of those disruptive presence up front for the Bulldogs. One of the leaders for A&M. Now 2nd and 12. Good coverage there, as it was knocked out of the hands of Reed by Caleb Riley. Riley giving up some size, just standing 5'10", but he was blanketing Reed on the coverage.
A good job of sticking with the play, and they're going for that matchup. When you start seeing the big bodies going for the quick slants, they're trying to box them out, and that's what they've been attacking.
And the quick passing game is the thing that has really helped Casey kind of manage this ball game thus far. They've been able to put up 21 points. But, Jay, you mentioned you wanted them to see him take a few more shots down the field.
You have to, because the defensive backs are going to start jumping routes, and they're going to start anticipating.
Casey gets it out. Newman, the incomplete pass, and that brings up 4th down for JSU.
Good coverage by Armani Holloway, number 20. And when you talk to the coaches about him, they absolutely love him. Call him a Darius Leonard type of linebacker. Slightly undersized, but the motor makes play after play.
Lane McGregor, the junior, out the punt, and there looked to be some miscommunication there. And just see the frustration from Jackson State. Not enough men on the field, I think, Jay.
But that can't happen. I mean, let's think football 101, right? Unless that punt's going to be blocked, then take the penalty. The timeout's more valuable than the penalty would have happened here. And they've had their troubles with the special teams and the punt block and things of that nature, but you're in a close football game. You may need those timeouts in the end, and you're in the trailing position right now. I think that's one where you don't take the timeout, take the penalty. What's the 5 yards going to do? But if you don't have that timeout you need in the second half, that's when things get dicey.
As McGregor receives it, a flag comes out.
False start. Offense, number 43. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
So even with the timeout, Jay, the Tigers move back 5 yards. And these are some of the lumps you kind of expect to take, though, with the first-year head coach, as this is an opportunity for Coach Prime to sharpen, his skills as a coach as well. Booming punt there from McGregor. Penalty marker out as Hilaire on the return.
There's a penalty marker on the return.
Already this officiating crew busy here just inside of 2 minutes of this third quarter, excuse me. And so a rocky start coming out of the locker room. Some starts and stops. Here's the call.
Dirty return. Holding. Receiving team, number 43. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. 1st down.
This penalty sponsored by Richard Schwartz. With Richard Schwartz.
So Alabama A&M has not been has been great rather with Aquil Glass at quarterback against Jackson State. You see what he's done the last 2 games, a total of 7 touchdowns against the Tigers.
They know who he is, and they still are yet to stop him, yet to throw an interception. To be honest, hasn't even come close to throwing an interception. He's been in complete control, and they are really going to have to leave their comfort zone and try to collapse the pocket because Aquil Glass is picking them apart.
Quarles, I don't know how he got out of there, but he's still on his feet. And then he's popped there at the end by Markel Gladney. 12-yard pickup for Quarles.
They're not gonna respect the run off of the bounce. Nice spin move, keeps his balance. And Gary Quarles, a junior from Cottondale, Alabama. Some good, tough roughing.
The 5'6" running back. It was just can kind of hide behind the line at times. And it's 2nd and 9 after that pickup of 1 from Quarles.
If they can get the running game in there, it only helps expose the passing game.
Glass, play action. Down the field, has a man. It's complete to Ibrahim, but a flag is out.
interception.
Is it going to be holding or illegal hands to the face? But it was somewhere along the line of scrimmage. But what a nice, comfortable throw. The good quarterbacks make that pass look easy.
Personal foul, hands to the face. Defense, number 93. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
After that big throw and catch, add on more.
Look at the pocket presence. Just reading it, standing comfortably in the pocket. Throws a pretty ball to his receiver, Ibrahim, who's had a big day as well. See, and I'm going to say this. You cannot allow a quarterback to get that comfortable in the pocket. He's going to pick you apart all the time, every time. And you got to leave your comfort zone and get some pressure on him.
Looking, finds a man, and that was easy into the hands of Hilaire.
Reading your keys. Take what the defense gives you. That was textbook. Hard look to the left, come back right. I mean, watch the head. Watch the head, number 4. He's going left. Nope, coming back right quickly. Decisive decision. Touchdown, Alabama A&M. This is how you play the quarterback position. And having some wide receivers that can separate like that makes the job easier as well.
Again, this wide receiver core took it personal. They said they felt like they were the best in the SWAC. And they're showing off the goods here so far. Alabama A&M continuing to strike here from the vet. They're up 35-21.
It's
They pay homage to the past. The 4 Pro Football Hall of Famers to come out of Jackson State University. And they now have an opportunity to link that past with this present, as the Pro Football Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, the first-year head coach here at Jackson State. He said something about blazing new trails, but also he of Jackson State University. And they now have an opportunity to link that past with this present, as the Pro Football Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, the first-year head coach here at Jackson State. He said something about blazing new trails, but also he's helped to rally this team and this program and this community and this fan base around what you see on his shirt. I believe, and instilling the belief that this is a group that can win SWAC titles again, that can contend and compete for them like they have done in the past. 16 to their credit, as it was built by the architect W.C. Gordon. Here on the return, that's Corton Hubbard, and Hubbard keeping those feet moving.
And I think, off of what you said, if you don't believe, then you can't play for Coach Prime. He's clear with that. So he's seeing who are the folks that believe, who are the hard workers, who are going to do it the right way, academically, basically he says it all the time. Who's going to be smart, who's going to be tough, who's going to be fast, and who's going to be disciplined. He's looking for all those, and they're not able to put it all together. But, let's just be honest. The buzz around Jackson, Mississippi is like we've never seen it before in a long time. They are excited about this. They believe, the fans, more importantly, the fans of Jackson State football in Jackson, Mississippi, they believe in what Coach Prime is trying to bring to this program.
Very loyal fan base as that one pops in and out of the hands of Dalen Baldwin. That was a tough catch, but when it comes right there, Jay, you hope that he can bring it in.
Probably wish this ball had a little bit more velocity on it, but that's a catch. Wide receiver, FCS level and above, you have to make that catch there to help out your quarterback, but could have been thrown a little bit better, but Baldwin's a good one, but did not help out his quarterback on that play.
They handed to Marshall. Marshall, who has had great success, and he's brought down by Jackson, Eli Jackson, the junior.
Yeah, Jackson's a very active nose tackle, 6'1", 300-pound junior out of the state of Michigan, and when he gets to the party, he likes to dance a little bit. He likes to make the tough tackle, lay on you a little bit, and that's what you want from your 300-pound plus nose tackles.
3rd and 8 situation here for Casey and the Tigers. Trailing by 14. Casey with Allen and Baldwin over there, and it's Dalen Baldwin who holds it in.
What concentration. Not only did he have to beat the defensive backs from Alabama A&M, but his own teammate was in the area there trying to make the catch. But great concentration by Baldwin. That's how you make up for the drop pass you had on the last attempt and help out your football team.
Gets him across midfield, closer and closer to the end zone as Warren Newman is swung down by Cushning.
Warren Newman picks up 2 yards to the 25-yard line.
Good for 2, but Warren Newman is just one of those guys who you talk to the coaching staff, just a great respect for him. They feel like he's an excellent locker room guy and a very good student as well. And you called him what, lightning in a bottle?
Mr. Excitement,
Mr.
lightning
Excitement.
in a bottle. Mr. CEO one day, the corporation, well-rounded student athlete, has been one of those steady football players at Jackson State.
You see Alabama A&M showing blitz.
Oh, they're bringing it.
Yeah.
It's man-to-man
Yeah.
coverage, so you have to, unless they checked out of it. Now they checked out of the blitz and they went to some type of soft zone.
Going for the one-on-one on the outside. Baldwin with the slide, pushed off, and it's in! Dalen Baldwin, strong arming, finding his way across pay dirt. And you like the decision there, Quincy Casey, where you had 3 receivers at the top of the screen that go one-on-one coverage here, Jay.
Yeah, blown coverage. The communication didn't get there, so the safety help over the top was not there. And what do you see Baldwin do? Use that size, a slight shove against Jamarian Green to create separation and the touchdown.
Jackson State coming closer and closer. Baldwin with the flex.
A new view.
By a touchdown with 9:49 to go in the 3rd quarter, and we are joined by one of those Hall of Famers we mentioned coming out of Jackson State. When you go by Dr. Doom, everybody knows you by your nickname. You know you did a little something, Robert Brazil. Thanks so much for joining us. And when you're watching the product on the field this season, led by Coach Prime, what are your thoughts of the state of affairs?
First of all, Coach Prime needs to be hugged, kissed, and caressed for all what he has done for my university. This guy did something that every ghost and everybody that's been on this field do. Everybody want to give back to their college. Coach Prime has chosen Jackson State, my alma mater, my D I love, I D believe. So when I come back and see this, and I mean, some good football today. I ain't seen the type of defense because they ain't got number 80 out there. I have about 20 by right now.
I got you. Doom, we know we were at the practice together watching them. And what did you see from the practice? And I know one of the things you and I both said, the future's real bright for Jackson State with that talent that's not eligible to play right now, and what you saw from his message to the team.
What I saw was a bunch of guys, they run it, they know it, but they don't know it. You know, you can know it on paper, but you got to know it in your feet. You got to know it in your blood. You got to believe it. You got to eat it. You got to sleep it, and you got to perform it. You got to leave it on the field. I don't see that yet. I mean, it's going to come. You know, Coach Prime is putting it there. You know, he apologized to all us Hall of Famers last week, and I want to tell everybody that he didn't need to apologize to me. I know what he's feeling. I know what he's trying to do, and I appreciate what he's trying to do. These guys just got to bite and make the true commitment. Got to make the true commitment. I never forget Bob here telling me, Bubba, do you believe me? A dog can't serve with one master, and I'm that master.
Well, you had an opportunity to play under Coach Bob Hill, you along with Walter Payton and Jackie Slater, those Pro Football Hall of Famers that we're talking about. But thinking about what you all were able to do, in 1975, 5 players out of Jackson State drafted. That was more than Ole Miss and Mississippi State combined. Thinking about the rich heritage and tradition. How proud are you to be a part of building that?
Well, we had something to prove, all of us. You know, a lot of people don't know that Robert Brazile was a walk-on at Jackson State. I walked on to Jackson State, and I walked all the way up to that gold jacket, but I put the time and the work in. These guys that I played with, if they would have had the type of exposure, it would have been more than 5, young lady. It would have been 15 to 20 guys being drafted off that team. We had that much talent, raw talent that was still sitting on the bench that I wasn't going to let get on the field because they took my position.
All right, Doom, before we let you go, I got to know, the nickname Dr. Doom, you told me about it. What does Dr. Doom mean? How'd you come up with Dr. Doom?
Howard Cosell gave me that nickname back at the College All-Star game. Richard Wood was looking in the Chicago Tribune, and all the other guys had nicknames, and I was just Robert Brazile from Jackson State, which I wanted to be. Robert Brazile meant so much to me. But Richard Wood said, Dr. Doom. I said, Dr. Doom? Then Howard Cosell, sitting at the end of the table, said, Dr. Doom, yeah, let's take that Doom part. Death on offensive men, it fits that young man, because that's all he do is kill people.
Love you, bro.
Love you too, man. Thanks again for what all y'all do. If I can do anything, just call me. I'm at the end of the phone saying yes.
I love that. That's that personal touch there, Jay. But these are the inroads that, you have been able to make. Thank you so much, Dr. Doom. Robert Brazile, Pro Football Hall of Famer here from Jackson State.
Thank you.
But that's the HBCU love.
HBCU love all day long. And Dr. Doom was one of those guys, and people don't realize, one of the biggest guys to ever play the linebacker position. Now, Doom goes 6'4" and played at like 260, 270. Back then, he was legit. He was going to end it. How about that right there? Jackson State Hall of Famers, Lem Barney, we talked about the flashiness. Walter Payton, the GOAT, greatest running back of all time. Jackie Slater and Robert Brazile, and they got some others. Jimmy Smith's a legend. He should be in the Mississippi Jackson State Hall of Fame without question. Offensively, one of the best weapons they've had. And the tradition goes on, and they're trying to bring it back. What do they say down here? The I love?
The I love.
I mean, these folks love this school, don't they?
Yes. Yes, they do. They bleed the blue.
With an accent of red.
Yeah. Well, we've seen more than an accent so far this season. As a shout out to W.C. Gordon. On the carry, Marshall really with nowhere to go. But this is an opportunity and a drive, Jay, for Jackson State to try to score on back-to-back drives and even everything up.
This is that gut check time. Who steps up to make the play? Marshall, the running back, has done his job, and we know the wide receivers can do it. Now it's time for Quincy Casey step up, make some throws, and get some help from the offensive line.
2nd and 9, still deep in their own territory. Casey tucks it, and he's brought down by Richard McKenzie. McKenzie, the senior, able to stop him, brings up 3rd down.
Yeah, I mean, how do you leave a rush in unblocked on the end man line of scrimmage? I mean, there's no help there. And that's what I said. Casey's got to make some throws, but he needs some help from his offensive line. Schematically, that cannot happen. 4-man defensive rush. They brought a little fake look with the Mike linebacker coming to occupy, and you allow your quarterback to take a sack.
They hand it off to Marshall, and Marshall driven back into the end zone.
Number 20. Monty Holloway, we talked about him being a guy. He was a preseason all-SWAC player this year and disruptive on that side of the ball from Pinson, Alabama. Watch number 20. That's how you play linebacker. Shoots the gap inside, doesn't give up on the play, run down the man on the line of scrimmage. That's that motor. That's that extra it. He could have stopped and watched the play unfold, but he got active and got involved. 2-time
all-SWAC selection for Connell Maynard, most active and productive player on defense, as you mentioned, Jay, just so versatile. And they're pinning them deep in their own territory, kicking out of their end zone. And on the collection of the punt, here comes Wakefield. And we've seen several penalty markers come out on the field, especially in this 3rd quarter, but essentially on special teams as well. And the look there from Connell Maynor. He quickly has a discussion with Cameron Young, both he and the coaching staff.
Personal foul, blindside block, return team. 15 yards from the end of the run, automatic, first down.
Alabama A&M will have the ball when we come back here to the SIP. Between the Phillies and the Braves. Our coverage begins at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. And look at there on the sideline for Jackson State, one of the players sporting old Dion jersey.
I go to JSU.
Prime time. You ever think about, today's world, I don't know if you'll see it again. We talked to Coach Prime. I don't know if you'll see another athlete able to play two sports. Pro, one, because it trickles down to the AAU level, the high school level. It's so hard, and I've got a student athlete as well, for a kid to play multiple sports. It used to be commonplace to play 3 sports. Now, they really only want you to specialize in one sport.
Well, Glass had that one bounce off the hands of a receiver, and I think Quarles may have caught that one off the ricochet.
I think the curl route was open there. Ball. Thrown slightly behind it, but good job by Quarles. Recognition, realizing the ball was in the air, but Glass needs to get it going again. Long drives, and JSU's kind of deflated the football, slowed the pace of the game down a little bit, which you want to do versus quick strike offenses.
Hilaire in motion, turns, finds right up the middle, and that was a great play designed for Kendrick Johnson, the tight end. And just a little bit behind him.
The timing just a little bit off on that play. Look at the misdirection, going left, coming back right, going down the middle. And you have to give him a little bit more time to let him clear that Mike linebacker, Khalil Arrington, who was clearly getting out of the way. Just slightly off with the timing of the play.
Now on 3rd and 9, the Bulldogs. Trying to extend this drive. Glass looking down, finds this man. What a grab out of the air by Zabrion Moore.
I'm going to tell you, these wide receivers for Alabama A&M, they can get it. They can get it. Snatch the ball out of the air, run after catch, nice routes being run. This is an efficient passing game.
300+ yards for Glass, and adding to it, there's Moore once again from leader to leader on this team. Zabrion Moore, one of those players who's the position captain. Been the rock of that wide receiving core.
And imagine the confidence you have as a play caller when you know when you call the play, your quarterback's going to execute the play. Almost to perfection and making it look easy. And when you have that type of relief and you don't have to hide anything as an offensive coordinator to cover any weaknesses out there, it makes the offense that much more explosive.
Glass with that one-on-one coverage outside, tried to go to Moore again, and C.J. Holmes with great coverage. Quite honestly, Jay, we haven't called the name as often as I anticipated of Dejon Warren and C.J. Holmes, the 2 cornerbacks for the Tigers.
And they're also missing Isaiah Bolden again for another week, who's transferred from Florida State, who they can't wait to get back. Look out.
Glass able to fall on top of that one, so now that brings up 3rd and goal from the 7.
Here's where the difference is with a team that likes to attack and another team. Another team has that fumble snap, like, oh man, we lost these 6 yards. An aggressive passing team, oh, you've given us more real estate to attack the end zone. We're a little bit further back. We can open up the playbook a little bit more. Look at this formation.
Yeah. And then they shift everybody,
right
to the right of your screen.
Be careful. Watch that tight end to the left.
This is their second charge timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Jackson State spending a timeout. Good opportunity to remind you of the 42nd straight year that the NFL Draft is on ESPN. We'll get the coverage going from April 29th through May 1st, all 3 days over on ESPN, ESPN Deportes Radio, and you can also catch it on the app. Well, Aqeel Glass is one of those great quarterbacks who we anticipate seeing in the NFL Draft, but we will see him next season. He is set to return to Alabama A&M for another year, currently working on his master's, as we mentioned, in civil engineering. And he's hoping to add to his legend there in the record books for the Bulldogs. Senior out of St. Louis, played his high school ball at Lutheran North. Glass with the pressure, coming in, hot, strong. That was Justin Reagan revving up the crowd.
They're going to call him down, or was it a fumble? I think they're going to call him down. And this might have been a shovel pass that was sniffed out by the defense of Jackson State. And nowhere to get the ball to him. Yeah, that was going to be a design shovel pass to the running back. And great recognition.
How appropriate is this playing in Veterans Memorial? From the late, great DMX, stop, drop, shut him up. Shut him down, open up shop.
And they are going to take a look at this.
Jay, in real time, before we even see the replay of the review, did you feel like he was down?
Yes, but it was close. I mean, the ball was dangling out there, so you never know once you slow it down what you see. I think when we saw one replay, it might have been a little bit closer. And this is a crucial moment of this game here. We're talking about keeping it a one-score game.
That's so bang, bang. And remember, the call on the field is that he was down, and that's important too, Jay, because you have to have irrefutable evidence.
Right there, looks like knee is down and still in possession of the ball, but you can tell that Reagan was definitely making an effort to strip the ball. So there, I'm going to say down with the knee down there.
If you're Jackson State, no matter what the call is here, you've got to like the fact that you were able to sniff out that play, get pressure on the defense, because they really have not gotten the glass today.
They stepped up, because at a time where you absolutely need your defense to keep this a one-score game, they might have done just enough to keep it at 7, or at the very least force a longer field goal try from the team that had the ball first and goal and looked like they're clearly on their way to going up by 2 scores.
Ruling on the field is confirmed. The runner was down. 4th down.
So Alabama A&M retains possession, as the call on the field was that he was down, and now a 34-yard field goal attempt for Spencer Corey.
Corey to attempt a 34-yard field goal.
This to push the lead out to 10. And it sneaks through the right upright. And Alabama A&M tacks on some more.
The score, Tigers 48, Alabama A&M 38.
Yep, so they're up by 10. But you know what? Let's This is good. We like the stuff on the field. We always like stuff on the field. We appreciate the athletes for their accomplishments they do off the field, the social type stuff. Well, I'll give you props for the job you do calling the game, but how about this? We got a little something for you. Congratulations, Miss Tiffany Green, for you being a recipient.
Anytime that I'm just channel changing with the remote and I come across a game and I hear your voice, it's always a familiar voice. It's always a voice that pulls me in. I don't know why we haven't given you this award earlier, but I'm so glad that we got around to giving you your flowers while you can smell them. It is my distinct honor to bestow you with this award.
The recipient of the Don Staley Excellence in Broadcasting Award. Congratulations, partner.
Thank you.
Well deserved,
Thank
well deserved, and your acceptance speech was phenomenal as well. Appreciate all you do. I'm sorry I held you back from getting it so many years ago, but hey, cream rises to the top, right?
Hey, man, you know what? You make me better, Jay, and I appreciate you. I know everybody gives you a hard time, but I sincerely do. As Deshaun Warren picks it up, and he's got some speed on the outside, across the 40, near the 50, and he's brought down out of bounds. Nugget Warren, as they like to call him, the penalty marker at the end. Likely a late hit. But that's the injection of energy that Nugget Warren brings to the Tigers.
And they needed that, and he's been a return threat all season.
Personal foul, late hit. Number 26 is a kicking team. 15 yards we added to the end of the run. First down, Jackson State.
And you hear that? The fans are getting into it. That's the spark. And at the end of the play, late hit. So a great return becomes even better with an additional 15 yards. And Jackson State, well,
he essentially takes it from his teammate Hubbard, and he's just like, I want it. Give it to me.
The big time players want to make plays in big games, and great job of return by Nugget Warren.
Best field position today for Jackson State, starting in A&M territory. It's Marshall. Marshall trying to bounce off. And he's brought down for no gain.
And that's got to be disheartening, because that front that Alabama A&M showed, you should be able to run the football. Four-man front, you've got 5 blockers there running the zone read. And they're trying to bounce it to the left, but Alabama A&M is stunting their defensive line that way, clogging up the running lanes.
In motion, there's Warren. They toss it to him, and the Bulldogs defense was ready for him.
Speed. Armani Holloway getting there.
Breon Austin as well.
Along with Austin, the defensive end, able to run him down. And what you like about A&M, you see a number of white jerseys attacking the ball carrier. They don't really put these guys on an island too much. Assignment football.
Casey Cushney coming. The pressure, and right there as Alabama A&M had it covered from start to finish. The pressure from Cushney, followed by the tackle from Selmar Russell.
Assignment defense. One guy, your job to rush a quarterback. You get there, the other guy sniffs out the screen, there to make the tackle. Good job of containing the offense by the Bulldog defense. And that's the thing that frustrates, like Coach Prime. Fellas, why can't we execute a screen? You know, everybody else runs screens against us. We can't do one. And screening is all about timing and rhythm, but they struggle to do that.
So the Bulldogs will take over possession of this one with Aquil Glass coming back on the field, and we've mentioned just how good this receiving core is for Alabama A&M. He can spread the wealth around to a number of receivers, and you see the depth here on the outside with Zabrion Moore leading the way with 114 yards with just 4 receptions. 4 different receivers with touchdowns. They're good.
Distributing the football and attacking the defense. When you attack what the defense gives you, good things can happen. As a quarterback, you want to make the right decision and allow your receivers to do the rest. And this offensive unit from Alabama A&M has been on point.
This pass completion to Ibrahim.
And Jay, I think they may have heard you say that Jackson State had the best wide receivers in the league. May have used that for a little locker room motivation. Right up the gut on the rush from Gary Quarles, and Quarles continuing to sneak behind his own guys past the 50-yard line. So, you know, maybe they were using that for a little.
I stand by it still. And this is a great job of balance by Gary Quarles, who we're seeing has some great attributes as well with nice vision and balance. But I'm going to say this. I said Jackson State may have the best. I mean, it's clear that Jackson State doesn't have Aquil Glass. I mean, this is the best passing unit in the conference. I would say that. And this unit here is good of wide receivers they have. And if that's what they have to use me as bulletin board material to get motivated, to come out and put up 38 on ESPN, so be it.
Now, I had a chance to talk with Glass's high school coach, Carl Reed, over at Lutheran North, and he had a number of targets to throw to then, made a lot of big plays, and so he feels like he's just the right guy for this moment, for this team. He's been able to deliver on and off the field. As that pass complete and a penalty marker comes out at the end. Excuse me, that's an incompletion. But the fact that he's a guy that does it the right way every day, according to his high school coach.
Before the snap, false start, offense, number 6, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
And so to button up that point, Jay, I really like the fact that you bring the character off the field to help you be a standout on the field. And those are some of the things that when you're an NFL scout, you're looking out for those things. You want to know more than just about what he can do on the field, but how does he lead? What kind of locker room guy is he? What does he stand for?
They will go through his resume and background with a fine-tooth comb, you know, and particularly the quarterback position. They'll figure out what type of student he is. Well, he's checked the box for that because he's already going to have a degree and working on a second. And then the football IQ.
Glass on the incompletion. He was feeling the pressure from Jackson State.
And we've been doing games for, a number of years. And think about how many times have we heard the quarterback's pretty good, he can do this. And every coach tells us, oh, he can make all the throws. But now I was excited about this game to see a young man that executes all the throws, not can make all the throws. Show me a quarterback that makes all the throws, and I think that's what we've seen. That's been the difference.
The delayed handoff off the middle from Cameron Young, and boy, did he go airborne. What a hit delivered there.
Come on, baby. Let's do the twist. Oh, you talk about getting twisted up. We knew Cameron Young was going to be in the backfield with some highlights. But, hey, let's not forget, don't leave your feet. Stay down, son. Dunk!
College football presented by McDonald's. They call Jackson the city with soul. Right now, their home Tigers trailing in this one after a big second quarter from Alabama A&M as we start the fourth quarter. Alabama A&M, with the ball, 4th and 3.
Going for it on 4th down. Aggressive play calling here by Connell Maynard.
And penalty flags, Glass gets it out, but I think Jackson State may have been offsides.
Jumped offsides, and that may bail out Alabama A&M. Thought the initial movement came from the defensive end at the top.
They're certainly moving in that direction. Here's Marty Adams.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both by each team. Offsides, defense number 76. Intentional grounding. Offense number 4. There was no receiver in the area. We will replay 4th down.
He was getting hit. That's all right. I mean, clearly you see the top of your screen. That's Reagan, who we've seen make some big plays. And Back turn, and he looked over there, just got hit. Intentional grounding. You try and throw the ball to your receiver with a defensive lineman's helmet in your gut. But all that said, 4th down again, Tim. Big play in this game.
Absolutely. So we'll do it again. Glass giving the call. And Connell Maynard nearly sprints out.
Alabama A&M. That's our first charge timeout.
To the middle of the field to call that timeout.
He realizes that you're in the 4th quarter up by 10, going for it on 4th down with a chance to increase that lead. It's something big.
Well, Jay, it's been a pleasure.
I got to do something, Tim. Got to do something. I don't miss too often, and I'm trying to save both of us because you'll hear from it more than I will. My Gimme 5 list.
Okay.
I always view Ken Riley as a safety. Ken Riley was a cornerback, and I heard from many of y'all. Had I judged it as a cornerback, I will say that. Apologize to you, Riley, because I think Ken Riley should be in the NFL Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
And if that's the case, then sorry, Everson Walls, you're my man, you're going down a spot. I'm giving that to Ken Riley. You heard it here, so Ken Riley deserves it. Rest in heaven. Outstanding player, one of the most underrated players of all time. 5th all-time in the NFL in career interceptions. How is he not in the Hall of Fame? I dropped the ball, Mr. Riley.
We appreciate that, Jay. And two, I think when you think of just, what he was able to do at FAMU, one of the greats for sure. Glass on 4th and 3, man open. Easy for Zabrion Moore to catch that one. Excuse me, that's Odu Hilaire.
Big pickup by A&M, and you wonder how he got so open. Must be a little rub, but nice time. No, you can't run around that. That's on the defensive back. Ran around it. But I want to ask you, what does Ken Riley mean to you all at Florida A&M?
I'll tell you what Ibrahim means to the Bulldogs. He means another score on the board. Abdul Fattah Ibrahim has been doing his thing, and a career-high 5 touchdowns for Aqeel Glass. But he has just gashed this Tigers defense.
And I do get the feeling that Alabama A&M, they wanted some of this matchup. The wide receivers wanted to face off against some of the defensive backs from Jackson State, being coached by Coach Prime, and they wanted a piece of them. And they've bitten off a whole lot, Bulldog style.
The point after attempt is good. So Alabama A&M taking it to Jackson State on the road. They say, get at me, dog. It's Abdul Fattah Ibrahim for the Bulldogs.
No.
Today, career high, 5 touchdowns from the senior quarterback out of St. Louis.
He's done it every way he could do it, with the pocket presence, the awareness, the touch. But I think ultimately it's just been his decision making. I mean, when you're ahead of the defense mentally, the physical repetition of making these throws on a regular basis, time and time again, they'll show up on game day, and it's all been on display by the senior quarterback from St. Louis, Missouri, showing you why he's one of the top-ranked senior prospects for next year's draft.
And when the coaches, talk about Aqeel Glass, they mention that, hey, look, he's an action leader. He's not really vocal, but he commands the team's presence. Not only that, he's just one of those guys who just doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, but they've helped to train him and build him into a pro, trying to play like a pro all throughout his college career. Picked up by the Tigers on the return. That's Hubbard. And the recipient of that last Glass touchdown was Ibrahim. And he's one of those really interesting stories because he's like a walking success story for the Bulldogs. 16th wide receiver on the depth chart. Just walked into an open tryout, and he went on to earn a full scholarship. The #1 receiver on this team. And check this out, an FCS freshman All-American as well.
What did we hear from Dr. Doom earlier? He said he walked on at Jackson State and then walked across the stage to be a Pro Football Hall of Fame member. And the walk-ons, they have that edge. They have that grit, that determination. And there are programs throughout the country where if you get overlooked in high school, go prove it on the field when you get to college.
That's something Santee Marshall has been proving to Jackson State here today.
Coming from Division II Miles College, Coach Ruffin, I don't know how you let him get away, but he's playing at the higher level now and showing he's a football player. And what did Coach Prime say? Coach Sanders said, we saw him on scout team making plays and said, we have to figure out a way to give him a chance. And with an injury to Tyson Alexander, all of a sudden, there's a new legitimate running back at Jackson State.
And we've heard just how competitive those practices are. Jay, you got a chance to go to practice. What did you see?
Up close and personal, they got some dudes. And I'm going to say this. Shedeur Sanders, who's getting the reps at quarterback as well. So much improvement in him. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's got the arm, and they've got a spark behind him when they see him throwing the football. And I think that's kind of what gets everybody excited around here. And the list of guys that are playing now, those practices are intense. Ones versus twos, sometimes they end up being a tie because the twos are the guys that can't play, and they're just so good.
There are a lot of players who are waiting to come in and suit up for Jackson State this fall.
And let me give a shout out to Dion, because Dion, every time we talk to him, he said, y'all don't see what I see at practice.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see it. And I saw a couple throws from Shedeur early. I said, oh, he can sling it. And then Dion was kind of like, you see? Do you see it? Like, I've been telling you, you don't believe me. Do you see it? And me and Dr. Doom were there, Robert Brazil, and we said, man, they got some players. And it's a spark. And, you know, if they get the trigger man to go along with these receivers, they can do something.
4-star prospect out of high school, highest ranked rated recruit in the SWAC. Here's a look at what Shedeur can do.
You know, when I see these highlights here, I see somebody that knows how to read coverages, ball placement, go in the right place. But, I'm going to tell you what I see he's improved upon the most. He's been on the college campus. His arm is a lot stronger. I mean, he's throwing bullets. He's throwing darts. So this is what you see coming out of high school. This is the scouting report. The size, he's gotten bigger. He's filled out, moving well, can extend the plays. See, I agree with the number 3, can locate the receivers. But I'm telling you, if you haven't seen him yet, from that high school tape to what I saw, it's night and day. I mean, he's throwing the ball like a grown man now. He's slinging it. And what I saw in high school, the film, he knew how to pick you apart. He couldn't sling it. There's a difference in being able to sling it and being able to throw passes. He was slinging it.
Well, he passed for more than 4,000 yards and 40 touchdowns, and originally was, committed to Florida Atlantic in July. And then once his father got the job here, he followed Coach Prime to Jackson. Well, that's a tough run by Gary Quarles to get that first down.
I mean, what a run there. And that's when, when you're running with a purpose. Look at the balance. Watch him make himself small. Get small so he can go underneath it and keep the legs churning to pick up the first down. I've been very impressed. We talked about Glass, but Quarles has really impressed me. He's an every down back. He doesn't have to come out the game. Can block, can run routes, can catch the ball, and can tote the football.
And I think, too, the question coming in, Jay, was just how well this A&M team would fare given the fact that they hadn't played in 35 days. Their lone game of the season back on March 6th, which they won against South Carolina State. But since then, they haven't done anything more than just practice and watch film and game plan, hoping to get on the field. Are you impressed with what you've seen?
Yes, but more impressed because they're as good as advertised. I share the concern about the secondary. The defensive secondary is young, but I don't know if they're going to face another group of wide receivers as talented as what we've seen. And really impressed with the mesh between the play caller in terms of Dwayne Taylor, the offensive coordinator, the head coach, Connor Maynard, and keeping the defense on their toes.
And we refer back to just the schedule and what it's been like for them this season. This is how it originally looked, and then it got all shaken up. Stuff just started happening. So we add the win from Alcorn State they forfeited this season. Get the win against South Carolina State, and then postpone, cancel, postpone. And that was not anything due to what they did, but it was COVID-19 for the other teams that kind of stood in the way.
Let me start the controversy here.
Uh-oh.
After you go into Orangeburg, South Carolina, you put 31 points on South Carolina State, who's known for having a defense. There wasn't a big appetite to play him now. I think some of those teams that where the games were scratched, folks might have been like, oh, man, this is our week.
Aubrey Miller just trying to sell something there at the end of the play. That was the pass incomplete from Glass. But
this pass is incomplete.
But, Jay, I think they may have shocked many people. You know, yes, you had Aquil Glass coming back. Yes, you knew that was a known quantity or entity. But you were maybe unsure on some other areas. And I think not only did they do that on March 6th, but here so far today, they have answered this question of, well, can they win a SWAC East division title? Can they go on to play for a SWAC championship? And what we've seen out of them today, I think the answer is yes.
Easy, Tiff.
Yeah.
Can they? Will they?
I said can they? And yes, they can.
They can. But like we always say, you always hear me say it, they're having a lot of success, right? There's one school that could care less about it. What school is that could care less? Alabama State don't care about Aquil Glass. They want a rematch from last year's classic. But right now, the day belongs to Aquil Glass. Do your thing.
Hey guys,
ESPN and the app at 7 Eastern. It'll be a virtual format again this year with the Dallas Wings having the first 2 picks, the Atlanta Dream holding the 3rd pick, and the Indiana Fever sitting in the 4th spot. It's going to be a great season of WNBA basketball. I had the chance to call it from the bubble last summer. Talk about Kennedy Carter. She's the truth. But how about Charlie Collier coming out of Texas? Erie McDonald from Arizona. Some of the names you'll hear on April 15th.
Now, would I be controversial? I said, can the girl from UConn declare early and come on out?
No, Paige Beckers cannot.
Freshman of the year, player of the year, everything but a champ. So are the women not allowed to come out early?
No.
Really?
That's correct.
Okay.
We want college basketball fans, college basketball fans want Paige Beckers to remain.
Yes.
Want Caitlin Clark out of Iowa to remain. She was the recipient of the Dawn Staley Award with me on Thursday. She got the basketball part. I got the broadcasting part. Appreciate your partner for that, by the way. Want to say thank you. Santee Marshall is quickly wrapped up there by number 45, Denzel Davis.
Davis played a great football game, too. We've called his name on a number of times. Solid open field tackles.
.5'10" senior out of Alabama. Third and 11 for Jackson State.
Try a jump ball. Find one of your big wide receivers and let them see if they can go up and make a play. They call them the 50-50 footballs. Try and give them a chance.
Instead, Casey rolling out to his right and able to
nice
complete the pass to Christian Allen. Allen, who has been targeted a lot more coming into today's game. He hadn't had a lot of receptions, but so far he's been active.
And step up. When they're going to focus on the guys on the outside. The interior guys have an opportunity to hurt you with plays, and that's Christian Allen as well as Warren Newman. Newman's had a good football game today.
As Alabama A&M spends a timeout, you were saying before the break, Jay, that the one team that doesn't care about how well Alabama A&M is performing is Alabama State. And next weekend, it's the Magic City Classic from Birmingham, and those two will go head-to-head, and that will be also critical because that could determine who the SWAC East Division representative is.
I mean, look at it. You know, if you see Alabama State and A&M, if they win that game, they get the automatic tiebreaker in the head-to-head. And we know with that game, you throw records out. Last year was the classic Alabama A&M emerged victorious in multiple overtimes. Alabama State trying to get it going. They're winning right now versus Mississippi Valley State. So what a showdown. The classic is going to mean something, y'all.
And I think, too, you know, that was a big win for Connell Maynard. He was, like, breathing that sigh of relief because what the folks care about in Huntsville and Bulldog Nation is you got to beat your in-state rival.
Yes.
You got to take down Alabama State, and he was able to do so last year. You could catch it this year, next weekend, over on ESPNU. Jay and I will be fortunate to be on the call once again, but this time it's a nighttime affair.
A primetime classic.
Yeah.
Ezra Gray and Alabama State, that offense coming along. They got a freshman quarterback. He'll be starting. Nettles will be in his first classic, and you can play during the season, but even the coaches I talk to, they don't realize how big the classic is until you experience it. And then the next year, they all say, I didn't know it was that big. We try to tell you, high expectations, a lot riding on the Magic City Classic. Alabama State versus Alabama A&M. This year, they're going to do it prime time and in the spring.
And if you think around just the Southwestern Athletic Conference, we had a chance to see Grambling State and Southern in action this season. They will go head-to-head in the Bayou Classic, which is also kind of a big deal in the state of Louisiana. This time, though, where is it, Jay? In Shreveport.
Shreveport.
Now, what's the difference? What's the difference between Northern Louisiana and Southern?
Yeah, Northern Louisiana, they like the crawfish.
Okay.
The crawfish etouffee. A lot of Southern Louisiana, you start getting into the boudin and the cake, the Creole stuff, the gumbo, I like to call it. Whole state likes red beans and rice. But, you know, you go to Northern Louisiana now, they got that Red River there where they pull out all the crawfish. My daddy from there, so I know about that. That's why I know a bit more.
Okay.
I think I'm going to do that for a Gimme 5 list. Top locations to tailgate. Because, you know, I'm like a tailgate connoisseur.
Something like that. You know, I learned covering HBCU football that the SWAC, they know how to tailgate. I mean, I think they're the best tailgating conference.
Yes.
In the country. See, the MEAC, what I was used to, was great for homecomings. Oh, you just couldn't top homecoming.
Yep. Well, you do pay attention to me, huh?
Every once in a while. I mean, but I witnessed it for myself, too.
Yep, MEAC is a homecoming conference, and the SWAC is a tailgate like no other conference out there. The different locations and the geographic variety, the foods and dishes you get to try.
On 3rd and 10, Casey had plenty of room to run, and Casey near the first down marker as he's knocked out, and they may give it to him. As Caleb Riley tried to get to him, but not in time. So he stays in bounds here, Jay. Do you like the decision to take the shot?
He's young. He's just a true freshman, trying to show he's got some macho in him, which can't blame him. But here's the question, and I'm gonna reverse the roles, and I will let you be the analyst. Has the redshirt freshman, Quincy Casey, done enough to, one, secure his job for the rest of the spring, and two, long term?
That's a tough one because I think what I've seen out of Casey today is he's been a really good game manager, and I think they have made things simple for him, trying to just get out easy passes, not taking those shots down the field. What I like about Jalen Jones and the dimension that he brings is the fact that he's a very good runner. And he can deliver the ball if he has time. So I think that, A, it's going to be a really competitive week of practice, but I don't know if maybe I've seen enough out of Casey to say I'm going to stick with him for the remainder of the season.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't hurt his cause, you know, no interceptions. You see the stats, but it was such why I think this is where the fans don't realize this, how much of that was by design. Like, was the game plan sophisticated enough, or did they simplify it too much? So give him an opportunity to throw the ball downfield. We rarely see him throw the ball downfield. Look at this, taking advantage of it.
And they wanted to get him in the ball game against Southern last week, but Southern engineered a long drive, and Coach Prime said we just didn't get a chance to get him in. But that 39-yard reception to Dalen Baldwin now moves them in the red zone, an opportunity to put up some more points. 10th play of the drive for JSU. quickly getting it out and batted away. The pass breakup there from Struggs.
And this is something where when I see Jackson State do this, philosophically, I'm not the biggest fan of it. Blitz is coming, so they're not checking the play. So you're going to see the same look here. They're going to bring both outside linebackers, and they're telling the quarterback, you know the blitz is coming, get rid of it before you get hit. There's only so many times you can do that where you rather say, can we protect the blitz and help me give more time to get somebody open.
Well, he finds Newman, and Newman is able to sneak in to the end zone. The great hands of Warren Newman, the speed as well. He was able to just move on by.
I mean, simple route. Get out there, but they caught Caleb Riley, number 24, peeking in the backfield. Not paying attention to his keys, and nice recognition from Jackson State. Quincy Casey, good job.
That was an opportunity to get this Tiger defense some rest. An 11-play, 79-yard drive, just about 4 minutes taken off the clock. 10-point ball game.
ESPN College Football is presented by McDonald's.
Jay Walker, Tiffany Green here with you from the Vet. So delighted to be with you on this Saturday. College football in the spring. It's Jackson State trailing by 10, 6:59 to go. And look, we saw in the first half these two teams trading scores back and forth. So we could very well see a fun finish here. Do you attempt the onside kick here, Jay?
I would, but give credit to Alabama A&M. They put their hands team on the field right now. So you're seeing the receivers out there on the field. Hilaire, Jenkins, Moore, in anticipation of the onside kick. Let it go into the end zone. They don't want to return the ball. When you have your hands team out there, you don't want those wide receivers blocking for you.
The touchback, and Quill Glass will come back onto the field. 5 touchdowns today for Quill Glass, encroaching on 400 yards, but that's a career high as he's already the career touchdown leader in the history books at Alabama A&M.
And you see those 380 yards, and just by comparison, what we're talking about, Casey has more pass attempts in this game, but not near the yards, not near the touchdowns. And Quill Glass coming out for, as my folks would say, coming out for some more. Now, this is a look we thought we would see a little bit earlier. Number 80, Cameron Young, coming in the backfield. He's a wide receiver. They say when we put him in the backfield, we plan on using him to show what a runner he can be.
We played a running back in high school. They faked to him. It's instead thrown to Brian Jenkins, and Jenkins was just tripped up. It was Crane, I believe, who was in to make the stop.
Man, what a catch. I mean, this ball kind of got away and sailed from Glass, but Jenkins is only 5'8", climbed the ladder, come down, help his quarterback out, pick up 6 yards on the play.
Now we'll get a chance to see Young on the outside, that quick burst of speed, first down near the 40-yard line as he's pushed out of bounds.
Running back in high school in Daphne, Alabama, got recruited to play some wide receiver, but worked on the hands and trying to develop him as that type of Tyreek Hill type player that everybody likes to have in their offense.
Cameron Young, who lost his grandmother, Carolyn Mitchell, to COVID a few months back, and he's been able to find football as a place to kind of bury his hurt and pain and contribute to his team. Tough throw for Glass across the field, and it's incomplete.
That was clearly the fourth option. And the fourth option throw from right hash all the way across the field to your left, and he almost completed it. You don't see wide receivers and quarterbacks doing 20-yard comebacks anymore.
But think, too, here, Jay, that you had 3 interceptions in their only game of the season leading up to today. And so that was one of the things Connell Manor talked about. Hey, look, we can't turn the ball over. We have to take care of the ball, and Glass has done a great job of that this afternoon.
In control, and when you don't get pressure on a quarterback like Quill Glass, the one sack early in the game, after that, he's just been able to pick them apart with ball placement.
And Maynard really paid him a great compliment as his third down on the way. Glass with a nice touch and still going. That's Allaire. Glass made that look so easy and effortless.
And it was the patience to wait for him, and that was really good coverage. I mean, look at the coverage on this twirl route. Right there. Defensive back, that was Keontae Hampton, who's a great player in his own right, was right there, not able to get a hand on the ball. And that freed Hilaire to pick up some yards after the catch.
Quarles. Excuse me, that's Young. And Young stays in bounds, keeps the clock running. But Connell Maynard talked about his quarterback, who was a former quarterback himself. And obviously, when you go and take a look at the stat sheet,
can I get him next week, too?
He likes Jackson State, to say the least, but a career high in passing yards, 419. He's played well against the Tigers, and a type of guy and a leader who they want to win a couple of championships, much like he did, much like Dwayne Taylor, his offensive coordinator, Taylor, did as well. Glass again finds Jenkins. Jenkins scurrying around.
Jenkins out of slot. Father was Brian Jenkins, former head coach at Bethune-Cookman, as well as Alabama State. And the younger Brian Jenkins making a name for himself in Huntsville. Would it be safe to say, Tiff, that when you hear the name Brian Jenkins, you kind of shake a little bit? Because, I mean, was he the one that started that 0 for, what's the streak now, 0 for 9 streak for Florida A&M versus Bethune-Cookman? It had to be during the Jenkins era.
That point is not relevant to this ball game.
Sure it is. His son is catching touchdowns.
But what we can say is that Brian Jenkins did a phenomenal job down in Daytona
beating Florida
Beach
A&M on a regular.
And winning MEAC championships. Like, he took them to the playoffs. They won championships. And so, beyond who they beat, we'll give the Wildcats credit for the success they had under Brian Jenkins, and now carrying the torch is Terry Sims. So you just quickly move on from that point?
I know, but here's where I'm not going to let you have it both ways. All right, Tiff, you sat here and said how important the Magic City Classic was, right?
Correct.
You said coaches got to win classics, right? And you got to win that classic because so much is riding on it, right?
Yeah.
But so now all of a sudden you can't act like the Florida Classic is not a game that you got to win.
Oh, it's a really big deal.
And if it's a rivalry game and Bethune-Cookman is beating Florida A&M how many times in a row?
I don't remember.
You do know.
I don't know the number.
It's 9.
However,
you know it's 9.
However, what I will say that Florida A&M has controlled the series historically.
What have you done for me lately?
We also have to give credit to Willie Simmons and the job that he's done taking over and seeing the resurgence in Tallahassee.
I'm going to make sure
Two things can be true, Jay.
I'm going to talk to him about that.
True.
And that Don Staley Excellence in Broadcasting Award, there has to be some honesty to that.
There's honesty.
You just shook me on that one. You act like you didn't know how many games consecutively Florida A&M has lost to Bethune-Cookman.
You like how I did that little planted my foot and then boom, that juke move. You know, just press
but I wasn't letting you
L1 or R1 up here on your controller.
So we'll see what's going on with the Classic next week. And for Jackson State, a little bit disappointing. They won't be able to play their big rival, Alcorn State, who opted out of the spring due to COVID.
They've won the SWAC East Division 6 years in a row, and another touchdown and into the hands of Anthony Howard, his first score of the season.
You want to see quarterback toughness? Howard got the touchdown reception, the tight end, the H-back, but watch Glass stand in the pocket tough, know he's going to get hit. Matter of fact, he knows he's going to get lit up and still looking it all the way in, and this is what you do as a quarterback. It's worth the hit. You say, man, that's all you got? After I just threw a touchdown on you. And Aubrey Miller, who we know is the thumper for Jackson State. I'd exchange that hard hit for a touchdown. Quarterbacks do that all the time.
Aquil Glass all smiles as they put up 52 on Jackson State. Coming your way later this month on ESPN, you can catch the Game Day Crew. They'll be over on ABC again this year, covering it from the college perspective, and it all comes to you again April 29th through May 1st with all 3 days on ESPN Deportes, ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app. You remember what that day felt like for you, Jay?
Absolutely. Frustrated because I was a day 2 guy. Thought I was going the first day, but also, a lot of relief because as a young man, you don't know, your life's about to change. What city are you about to move to? And I knew I was going someplace, and getting my name called to go from D.C. to New England, I was like, where's New England? Oh, that's Boston. Okay. Boston is different, but all the hard work paid off.
Aquil Glass, who hopes to have his name called in next year's draft, has put on a career performance here on ESPN. Littles collects it off the hop. Littles is swung down by Cofield. I think when you have played the way he's played today, Aquil Glass has been having a good time.
Yeah, that's what you want to do as a quarterback. We used to love it on the road trip. Let's go ahead and take care of our business and listen to the sonic boom of the South in the fourth quarter. But look at those numbers there. Efficient. 440, 6 TDs, and a no-no. No interceptions, not even close. Good day at the office on ESPN for Aquil Glass. But, like I said, we'll see what you do next week. You're playing the classic, your rivalry game, Alabama State. Coach Hill will have the Hornets ready. Hey, Tiff, you know what's unique about this? All the names I've been getting that I didn't put on Jay's. First of all, let's clarify. It's called Jay's Give Me 5, right?
You're still on this.
My Twitter's going crazy, and I forgot some good names, but the top 5. I apologize. Ken Riley should be there. Dropped Everson Wall the spot, but some of the other names, I just got a text from Troy Vincent.
Yeah.
Great defensive back and does wonders for the National Football League, now executive. He said Emmett Thomas, who's a good one.
In 2008, I think he was an inductee.
Hall of Fame guy, yep.
College, now
one.
defunct.
Hey, Drayton Florence, Tuskegee, could get busy. Tyrone Poole, Dominique Rogers-Cromartie.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, DRC, I'm getting it. Keep them coming, y'all. I'll take it, but I always say, if you're going to give me a name, you have to tell me who you're going to drop from my list. See, who you're going to drop. That's when it becomes difficult.
Could they be added to on the bubble? Like, you just...
No, I put 2 on the bubble. That's the maximum of 2 on the bubble. And, who you going to drop? Albert Lewis? You're going to drop Rasheem Mathis? Come on. And then I'm not responding to those people that are recommending safeties to. Like Donnie Shell, safety. That people, where the man guy? Donnie Shell was a safety. So Nick Collins, safety.
Right.
People of that nature. Antoine Bethea, safety.
Jay, this is fun. Y'all keep it coming. That's all I say. Because let me tell you, what's been fun, and you've had the opportunity to meet face-to-face with Coach Prime as we're on site here. You got a chance to see practice for Connell Maynard. You guys go back and forth as they're reviewing right now a targeting call. They're reviewing it up in the booth, but Connell Maynard and you kind of go back and forth, and it's a lot of fun just to listening into the conversation. I'll tell you more about that, but let's look here. Yeah, that looked like a lowering of the head from number 54, Maurice Smith.
The tough part about it, if this is targeting now, we're in the second half. Next week, he's watching first half.
Right. And so they're trying to see first, is there an indicator there that if there was a launch or a thrust, or was he leading with his helmet? And I say yes, he was going in intentionally leading with his helmet. And then, Yeah, was he trying to attack with the crown of his helmet? Absolutely, I think so. Was the player defenseless there?
Definitely. I mean, he was coming to a stop.
Well, these are the questions that you ask, and you're looking for. These officials are.
All right, got some more defensive backs that had great NFL careers. Keep them coming. I'll take it. I read it.
Let's hear the call.
We have targeted Alabama A&M number 54. 15 yards to be added to the end of the run. Automatic first down. Number 54 from Alabama A&M has been disqualified.
I mean, that's what the rule is there for. I mean, two guys are on them. You come over, you lower, you go in helmet help. They're getting that out of football. They're getting that out of football. Officials got it right. I'll give you some more names here I'm getting. How about Robert Massey? Played at North Carolina Central. Good one. Isaac Holt. I forgot my buddy, New England, Maurice Hurst. Came from Southern University. Number of years with the Patriots.
That's a dialed-in fan base, Jay, when you're thinking about the Southwestern Athletic Conference and HBCU football as a whole. They care. Big hit there, delivered to Christian Allen, and flags come out again. Cofield was the one who delivered.
Yeah, that's a bit targeted as well, too. And this is the part here. It's a bang-bang play, but the officials are going to err on the side of caution because they can pick up the targeting call. Penalty will stay, the yardage will stay, but they can pick it up and the ball was caught. But
targeting. Defense number 17. Penalty been enforced. Half the distance to the goal. This play is now under video review.
So Trallick Cofield called for targeting. They'll review it right here, and here's another look.
And it doesn't have to be the helmet. It can be if you try to deliver a shoulder or that forearm flipper, as we used to call it, to the helmet or above the shoulders. That's
that one to me is not as clear. Let's see another angle here. I think the first angle we had to me was kind of showed maybe the best view in my opinion, but yeah.
Is he defenseless? He's defenseless.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Clearly going down, can't protect himself from that incoming hit. So that's a defensive player. When you slow it down, things look a little bit worse than they are, but in live motion, it was a pretty vicious hit, and they don't want that in the game of football.
And this one was a relatively quick decision as Adams here.
First down.
Wow.
So on back-to-back plays, two Alabama A&M players will have to sit out of next week's Magic City Classic for the first half.
And Trallick Cofield, number 17, is the starting safety for Alabama A&M. So this makes you want to pull out all your starters and bring your backups in.
Right. Casey finds a man in the back of the end zone for the score. That's Warren Newman. Warren Newman has had himself a good ball game here today. Despite the score, he has been able to put up points.
Just buying time, and good job of settling down in the back of the end zone. We're seeing Casey show he can deliver the football outside of the pocket as well. Now look at that. That's just nice play design right there. Where was number 24, Caleb Riley, going to go? He had a receiver right in front of him, one behind him. Two-level throw. Nice decision by Quincy Casey.
And Jay, this is a Jackson State team that got off to such a hot start, winning the first 3 games of the season. They've dropped the last 2 and will drop this one as well to go 3-3 on the season, and this essentially eliminates them from SWAC championship contention. However, one of the bright spots here today, Warren Newman, 4 touchdowns, on the afternoon. Nice day at the office as well for him.
Yep, and maybe found a quarterback that can throw the ball a little bit more, or who they trust more to throw the football a little bit. And, you know, for Jackson State for their season, I'm going to say early on they won the games they were supposed to win. And here's where the fan base, you got to understand everything. They said, oh, well, we beat Grambling. Grambling, you know, is having a bad year. I don't care what you say. Grambling could be 0-8. Going to Grambling and getting a win is very tough to do. This team did that, and that may turn out to be their highlight that they've had in a long time for the season, but they beat some of the teams they were supposed to beat, and then against some of the upper tier squads, they're just not quite ready yet. Nothing wrong with that. Your coach just got here in January. You're playing football in the spring. Haven't had a chance to implement everything. So stay strong, be the believers that you've been. You say you believe, well, make sure you do believe. Try and do it.
All right, now time to check in with the studio. Steve, what's going on?
Hey, Tiffany, we are getting ready to crown a national champion tonight. College hockey's national champion will be UMass.
Well, thanks so much, Steve. Back here at the Vet in Jackson, Mississippi. It's Alabama A&M who's come on the road and put up 52 points against the Tigers, a team who hadn't played in more than a month. And they look to be a well-oiled machine here this afternoon.
Uh-oh, Tiffany, you're in trouble.
What did I do?
Well, I'm getting all the text messages from everybody mentioning names. And somebody sent me one that made sense. You got to give him a mention. Ever heard of a defensive back named Sam Washington? Current head coach of North Carolina A&T, and a good job by the hand squad, Cameron Young. Yeah. Welcome to my world.
That's familial ties there. I'm going to get in trouble. What's up, Unc? All right, so let's take a look at just the standings, the playoff picture, if you will, the SWAC championship coming your way next month. Alabama A&M will move to 3-0 on the season after today's win. They eliminate Jackson State. That's Quarles with the big run here. Excuse me, a new running back in for Alabama A&M. That's Ryan Morrow. But
hey, let's do this.
Let's look.
Let's do that.
Well, I can't see it, but what I can say is that next week's game is oh so important between Alabama A&M and Alabama State. Meanwhile, Arkansas Pine Bluff, who's controlling their own destiny out of the West, if they win next week, they will be the SWAC West champions and likely the host.
Well, they got some tie-break scenarios they'll work out.
Okay.
So we'll see about that. But that's been the story. I think for the spring, you look at me, when I'm looking at the HBCU spring football schedule, I think the story has been Aquille Glass, you know, getting the opportunity and playing well, and a little cheap shot here that's going to be called for a penalty, late hit, play between the whistles, Mr. Miller. You're too good a football player for that. And the job that Doc Gamble has done at Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Yeah.
I mean, they were competitive a year ago, and many people think it's hard to win on an annual basis at Pine Bluff, but he was able to exceed expectations, lost a lot with his running backs from a season ago. Well, this is Coach Prime right here. The Coach Prime is telling, take it in. Smart thing to do. Heated, lost his game here. You know, relax, play next week. And that's something where I'm going to give credit to somebody like a Coach Prime. Tell him, I need y'all to get him in the locker room before he does more damage to himself or he says something to me that I'm never going to forget. And coaches do that. They act a certain way. So get him in the locker room. Let him cool off a little bit, and we'll address this on Monday. Just bring your track shoes to practice. You don't need your cleats. Bring your track shoes. I mean, and he's so fortunate
because it's unnecessary.
The quarterback was down, and he lowered the helmet. What if he gets called for targeting again, like they've been calling, and he's not able to play first half next week? So.
Well, Alabama A&M will just let the clock run out as the play clock and the game clock. Nearly the same. The final in this one, 52-43, Alabama A&M coming on the road, showing just what they have. The #1 team in HBCU. You see the respect and the love between Coach Prime and the head coach, Connell Maynard, for Alabama A&M. A high-scoring affair. Bunch of points put up here in the SIP. For Jay Walker and the rest of our crew, I'm Tiffany Green saying so long from the SIP. We'll send it over to Steve Levy.